I've already spent. I went halvesies on a booster box for the Lord of the Rings set with Eric. And and both of us have also bought others, like pre-ordered other stuff for the Lord of the Rings set. And Wizards of the Coast just fucking knows how to get me, because it's Lord of the Rings now, and then in the fall they're gonna release Doctor Who Commander decks, and I'm like, my brain is exploding from
I don't even have anyone to play Magic with, and I'm teaching B, but then by the time fall rolls around and the Doctor Who stuff comes out, I won't have anyone to play Magic with because I'll be in Wyoming. Anyway, it's fine.
I'll come visit you in Wyoming, and I'll bring my 2 very beautiful boxes of Commander decks, and we'll play Commander.
Yeah. I got also, Bakugan cards.
Oh, Chris.
I'm looking at my setup, and I'm like, my book is open, and it looks very nice. And then I realize it's my Thirsty Sword Lesbians book, and it's not my Monster of the Week book. And I don't know where my Monster of the Week book is. So this is my rule book for the day.
I feel like at a certain point there was a... Maybe some of y'all have heard this as well, but it's like there's a certain amount of hours that you put into something before you become kind of like an expert on it, or like very, very proficient in it.
Right.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, how many hours is it supposed to be?
10,000.
10,000?
Oh, I was gonna say how many hours we've been doing Monster of the Week.
Well, that was
I know that.
You know, we must be getting close.
That was the second part of it. It's like we have to be pretty damn close to getting, or not damn close, but at least maybe halfway to the 10,000 hours thing, you know?
We're a little, but this is also including OE. Including OE, we're at 321 hours.
Damn.
Okay, but that doesn't include the amount of time we've spent on like prep, post-session discussion, bits, and other debauchery.
Oh, Roner,
sure, it's another 300 hours of just other debauchery.
Roner 23, thank you for following. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you jumping on.
Yeah. Sorry.
I love followers.
We love followers here.
Follow us into the abyss.
Here, Mikey 14, thank you for following as well. Very kind, very kind. Welcome. Let's see here. I guess we can just go ahead and start with announcements, I guess.
We very well could.
Let's see. Let me pull them up because I kind of pull them up on my phone. Let's see here. Perfect. Welcome to TurnTables RPG. We're an experimental tabletop RPG stream where every player GMs and every GM plays. We take turns at the end of every mystery, switching out the GM and telling a long-form improvised story. Right now, we are on the 15th episode of the 5th mystery of our 3rd season of Monster of the Week. If you'd like to check out the previous mysteries, those VODs are on our YouTube. You can just search us up on TurnTables RPG. Dustin, where else can they search us up on the interwebs?
Well, that's funny that you should ask that, Saul, because you wrote a script for us to read, and it actually tells me these things. I mean, you still wrote it originally. So, anyways, a lot of our VODs are on YouTube. Monster of the Week seasons 1 and 2 are available there. Season 1 is its own separate thing that is in the same world, but mostly completely different cast of characters. Season 2, however, is season 3 is the continuation of season 2. So if you really want the whole story, season 2 is kind of where you would want to start for this if you want to go back and rewatch it. We also have our Uncharted Worlds Return OE, which is our spacefaring adventure run by Eric, or Ostianaut in chat. It's a wonderful, wonderful story told with a lot of moments that may break your brain if you go in unprepared. We also have all of our TurnTables one-page RPGs, which are nice, bite-sized, one session, one and done. I played Sexy Santa Claus in one of them. I'll let you figure out which one it is.
Yeah, figure out which one you played Sexy Santa Claus in.
Yeah, it could be any of them, really.
It could be any of them. Beyond Genesis was a wild time to pull it out, but, it happened.
Yeah.
Anyways, follow us on our social medias for more up-to-date information. At TurnTables RPG on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. Do we have a TikTok yet?
We do.
Yes. We do.
Okay. It's just not on there. It's not on the.
That's okay. Is it
command?
That's okay. We're on TikTok too. So
TurnTables RPG. Yep.
There you go. So look us up on there. You can also join our Discord channel, which should be linked in the chat as I speak. Yeah. honestly, following us is a great way to help support our channel. So, how else can you support our channel?
I'm so glad you asked, Dustin. Along with following us and just like spreading the word and just kind of being here, which, first of all, thank you so much for being here on your Tuesday nights to watch us. Or if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for taking the time to check out the VOD.
Hi from the past.
There we go. We hope things are good. But
I hope things got better in the next, 78 hours? What is it called?
About 78 hours, I think. On top of doing all that and like just supporting us in as you are here, supporting us as viewers, you can also consider following us here on Twitch, using subscriptions here on Twitch. We used to have other ways of doing it monetarily, but right now we switched to Ko-fi, which is a great way to support us monetarily if you have the means. If not, like I said, spreading the word and kind of like following us on social media is always a big help in general. And honestly, word of mouth is one of the best ways to kind of like get the word around in general amongst your friends and things of that nature. And so with that in mind, if you do support us monetarily, just know that that money is going to bettering the channel, making sure that we have the money for character art, making sure that we have the resources to put on new shows and things of that nature, which even before we started season 3, we've been talking about what we will be doing afterwards. So, it's one of those things where once season 3 comes to a close, the story's not over for Turntables RPG. We're still gonna be kicking. We're still gonna be hanging around like a bad.
And it's time to announce the
no,
next season.
No. Switch over to the pre-stream. But either way, thank you for the support, whether it's monetarily or just being here. We couldn't, doing this is a lot of fun just as like a group of friends in general. But the fact that y'all are along for the ride makes it even greater. So we appreciate you being here a lot. With that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and pass Chris off to talk about Twitch Prime.
The new season of Turntables RPG.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris. Tell us about it.
Okay, it's this lone villain that we must defeat. Called Jeffrey Bezos. His power is too immense, and he's been siphoning off the money from all of us for years through Amazon Prime. But don't worry, those connected to the Amazon Prime mainstream, you can use this power. Divert the flow back into someone else's account, our account. We need it. Our ragtag group of adventurers. They must get your Twitch Prime money, and therefore we will be powerful enough to defeat Jeffrey middle name Bezos. We can do it. I believe in us. All you have to do is connect your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Click the little subscribe button below. Click the checkbox that says subscribe with Prime, and you get it basically free. You're giving us the money that was going for him. Yes.
That's a great pitch, Chris.
I will also say my mother wanted to do the Twitch Prime bit today, but became unavailable. So she is in chat saying that she's gonna be here next week, supposedly.
All right, hey, that's okay.
So I'll make sure to have the announcements ready way beforehand, so that Aaron can kind of practice and read that. Get ready for it.
So yeah, coming out in 2 weeks, new season.
Jesus.
Or not 2 weeks.
Jesus Christ.
I guess it could be 2 weeks. I don't know. We could.
Wow.
That would be powerful.
My heart skipped a beat for.
What? Yeah.
Dope.
It'd be kind of funny, wouldn't it, if we started another season and overlapped them? You know what do you mean? You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, sorry. Let's keep
TV
moving.
shows do that all the time, right?
Well, no. It's not like a new season of Monster Week. It's a new show, and then we play the show right before we start the show before we finish this one. I don't know. Anyway, keep going.
Mars,
tell us about
Yeah,
our updates.
We already talked about Friday Night Magic. I don't know.
Anyway, along with those wonderful updates, we want to give a shout out to Patrick Costa. He drew the amazing artwork that you see on our overlay, along with the full art designs you may have caught during the pre-stream. If you did not catch those, do not worry. You get to see them again during the break. You can follow him on Instagram or Twitter at PCInc_. The end.
The end.
The end. Along with shouting out Patrick, we would like to also shout out the homebrew playbooks and their creators that we have been using. I'm currently playing The Tracker, a playbook by Mike Keck, and Saul last season was using The Amnesiac by Jason Burns. You can find the respective links for these creators in chat, and you can also follow Jason Burns on Twitter at JabManB.
Very nice.
Hey Saul, if you tell me stuff, please.
Give
me that good information,
tell you stuff. One, your commander decks are sick. Second of all,
hey, save that for later. All right, we gotta compliment stuff.
Second, oh yeah. Well, I mean, I could say it twice if I wanted to, but it had to be said. The second thing is if you, since we are plugging supporters and friends of the channel in general, want to quickly shout out our friends over at the Hollowed Expanse. They're a D&D charity actual play stream that streams on Sundays at 1 p.m. You can find them on twitch.tv at twitch.tv/Aurelia with a 3. The link is in chat. Thank you, friends. However, this next weekend, we won't be streaming because I will be out of town. So we won't be streaming this weekend. However, the following week, which I believe, the 25th? Yeah, the 25th. We will be streaming. So check us out then on the 25th of June. That's the day after my dad's birthday. And 2 days before my anniversary. So
Whoa.
End of June. Who knew? But I know when my anniversary is. Just to be clear, I just meant like who knew early in life that the end of June would have so many important things
Do you?
crammed into them. Yes, I do. June 27th. Yeah, check him out if you get the chance. It's a lot of fun. I play a Fushigi monk, who he's a rascal. He's a rascally boy. Love him a lot. But speaking of really dope ass actual plays,
I thought you were gonna say rascally boys.
Could also be Mars. Tell us some stuff.
If you need more tabletop games in your life or need more lesbians in your life, trick question, you always need more lesbians in your life.
I was just about to say.
Go check out the Thirsty Sword Lesbians campaign I am running over on twitch.tv/ttrpg. It's roller derby themed. We just had our first session last night. And boy howdy, there are so in roller derby you get roller derby names that you call each other on the track that are often some sort of pun or sexual innuendo. So yes, last night we had Lady Macbeth, Big Rig, Rail Her Swift.
That's so good.
That's a good one.
There's a lot of really
Rail
good
Her Swift there is nothing ever that's better than a Rail Her Swift.
That's one of the PCs. So
hell yeah.
If you would like to see Railer Swift, Region Rhonda Raccoon.
Ooh.
I like alliteration.
And Rainbow Fright, and another player who has yet to be revealed. Come check us out Monday nights. That'll
big reveal next
be
Monday?
running until next Monday. Big new player
The
reveal.
next season of Turntable.
Hell yeah.
Monday nights, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Central. Over at TTRPG, yeah.
Just turn it on and just leave it on. Eventually it'll start.
Yeah.
I put it on right now, and eventually it'll start.
I mean, there was no lie.
Mm-hmm.
Links are in chat to go to
Yes.
their Twitch and the Twitter. Dope. Dustin.
Sorry, Rail Her Swift still has me. Like, I'm still mesmerized.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always
Actually,
love a good name. Hi everyone. I stream on Twitch too sometimes. Twitch.tv/Valor6. You can see it there. I'm a cat boy. Spoiler alert. This is fake. That's the actual real me. Big reveal. Anyway, yeah, I stream on Twitch. What do I stream? Yes, I'm a variety streamer. I do all kinds of stuff. Been streaming Pokemon and Fire Emblem recently. Probably gonna stream tomorrow. That'll be fun times. Anyway, I'm also raising money to allow myself to go to Zeldathon. Zeldathon is a charity marathon where we play Zelda for 6 days straight, and it is coming up in July, at the very early July, less than a month now. When are you going to stream Webkins?
True.
You know what? I don't join the Discord.
We've been
and tell me about
asking.
it.
The
Anyway.
community's been begging.
They have been begging as of whenever you posted that. Anyways, raising money to help myself go to Zeldathon and to help them to raise money and to be able to see friends that I've not seen since 2019. I would love to be able to hug my friends again, but again, that is a completely separate thing. If you can only give to charity or give to me, give to charity. The charity we are raising money for is Charity Water, which is exactly what you think it is when you hear the sound. The sound, the name. I guess the name is a sound that is made with mouth.
This
Gosh,
is going well. It's going really well.
Gosh,
Keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
I feel like
Tell me more.
I've talked way too much.
Make more with your mouth.
Right,
Uh-huh.
raising money for Charity Water, which gets
Mm.
no. Play the other slurp sound.
And the other slurp sound, the one that wasn't actually the slurp sound. No, the other one.
That
Oh,
wasn't
that
one either.
There it is.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, yeah, raising money for Charity Water to give water to people who don't have it. Can we please move on? Can we go?
Yes.
Can we please?
Yes. Yes, I will go. Oh, I will say, because I don't think technically 2 years ago this was the week of the final session of season 1. I will say that because I have it marked in my calendar as Chuck's death. Sorry if you haven't seen season 1. I guess.
This is a huge
Spoiler.
Huge spoiler. Sorry, I just threw that out at you.
Don't get attached.
Yeah, don't watch it now. I
Don't
guess.
get
I'm
attached
sorry.
like we did.
Good time. Well, I was also fairly early on, like halfway through the season. I'm like, oh, by the way. Anyway, but watch to find out why that makes sense. See, now I've got you. Now you have to know. If you want to know more about me, I am in fact an art student. I do have art you can look at, or you can follow me on Twitter, I guess. And if you do follow the Turntables Twitter, you might see me around there. I just posted a piece of a fan art memery today, a little crossover between the crossover everyone always wanted, Turntables with Smiling Friends. And so if you saw that and you were like, wow, that's a funny image, I wish I could get my own custom image drawn by the same person who drew that. You can do that. You can pay me money and I shall do that for you. But if you just want to give me money and have one of those funny designs on your body or on your wall, you can check out my link tree on my portfolio. That will give you a little access to my Redbubble, my TeePublic, and my imprint for you to buy all the products you want with my pictures on them. And then of course also I would be remiss to not mention my curse. We do in fact have my grandmother, my 84-year-old grandmother. It's gonna suck if I got her age wrong. Grew up on a very small peanut farm. Had twin brothers, and she decided to write books in her later years based off of her two brothers who are twins, Roy and Troy. But they are squirrels, and I illustrated them. And so you can on Amazon right now for Kindle and paperback, you can get The Antics of Roy Troy, The Adventures of Roy Troy, and now The Prime Time of Roy Troy. All now you can get now. We are still working on making an official post saying that the third one's available. But you can do all of those things if you want to support a very nice old lady who is very proud of her scroll books and cannot understand why she hasn't sold 1 million copies yet. And I have to explain to her how online marketing works, and she just gets a little let down because she's like, because I have to tell her that to get your book out there, it costs money, and even then people won't buy the book. So on that note, let's move on.
I bet she's also very proud of her grandson.
I got really excited about the idea of Apophis Webkins and got distracted, but I'm the one who's supposed to talk next, I believe. I have an Etsy shop. It does not have Apophis Webkins. Heartbreaking. It does have Mothman things.
We just make a Cassie Webkins and we call it there. That's the only one we make.
That's it. Yep. Perfect.
Yep. It's got stuff in it. You can buy stuff. It's got little paintings. I keep meaning to move I've got a bag back there, of all my Etsy stuff, and I keep meaning to move it closer to my desk so I can actually show you things. But then I keep forgetting to do that, so I'll just have to describe it. Imagine.
Oh, I can go get one.
For some reason, my brain went to imagine an egg, and then I'm like, that's a Mabimbam bit. I can't just steal a Mabimbam bit. Imagine a Mothman. You've done it. That's what's in my shop.
Congratulations.
What's Griffin McElroy gonna do? You know, is he gonna bust down the door, scream at us?
Yes.
Yeah. Imagine an egg. The egg hatches, and inside is a patch with Mothman on it. It looks really cool and sick, and you want to buy it and give me money to purchase it.
I thought you were gonna say inside was Griffin McElroy.
With every Etsy purchase, you get one. You get it's like a Build-A-Figure. You get one body part of Griffin McElroy.
Yeah.
How many bones are in the human body? Sorry.
206.
106? Okay, you
206.
106? 50? Wow.
One bone. It's just one bone.
Yeah, we're like Among Us. Have you seen Among Us? You've seen Among Us.
I've seen Among Us.
I don't think Chris has seen Among Us.
Yeah.
Among Us?
Yeah.
Chris is a very
it's too far.
unplugged kind of guy, you know?
I just don't know what's going on. Okay, cool.
That is the end of our announcements. Last week we jumped into our tender tables, which I have yet. It seems like everyone is still pretty on board with. We could also go with Affirmation Nation. Not as good, I think.
No, it sounds like we're like we're like a Disney Channel commercial break thing. It sounds like time for Affirmation Nation with Cole Sprouse.
Yeah, something Nation also makes me think of sports.
Oh, sure.
Like Raiders Nation or
But that could also be a really great way to kind of to take that connotation away from that word too, or from nation. Itself,
we're reclaiming it.
We're reclaiming it.
But it seems like the winner is still Tender Tables. So
these tables are too tender.
Working title: Tender Tables.
Tendies.
You've got so much baggage. Put them on a tender table and watch it all collapse.
Chicken tender table.
I think.
Oh my gosh.
And I wanted to again float this by the group and see what y'all feel about it. Wanted to do maybe something a little different. This tender tables around instead of going around and doing affirmations of each other, because I feel like we've all done it at least once, kind of to everyone. We could each take turns saying something that we are proud of, or a self-affirmation of ourselves, of something that we have brought this season. I it's also something that's very difficult for me, but it's also very important to also do that as well. And then for everyone else to just kind of be when we say that out loud, for everyone else to be yeah, absolutely, all that kind of stuff, and just kind of build ourselves up a little bit as well, because it's also important to just to remember that you can be proud of yourself as well, you know. And it doesn't have to be something necessarily related to the stream. It could be something outside as well that maybe you're telling us for the first time. Does that sound cool / somewhat
Sure, might as well.
anxiety-inducing?
Sure.
We're already we've run out of ideas and we're trying new ones. Let's go.
No. It's still technically the same. Still technically the same idea.
It's all about positivity. That's what matters. Okay,
correct.
who wants to go? Saul, you brought it up, so you must go first.
Yeah,
We
I agree.
can still roll.
Yeah, I still had dice
Yeah.
for it. It's fine. You know, we won't roll, but I will popcorn it after I'm done. So one
Yes,
of
yeah,
you
pass
has
it off
be
to
able-
whoever you want,
Correct.
but you must go first.
Okay. Something.
You can't have brought up this idea and not had something prepared.
Listen, I was hoping one of y'all would go first, okay, and then it would give me enough
Oh.
time. to
Why
do
would
it,
any of us
because-
go first?
Okay, because we were gonna roll. Damn it. Okay, fine. So the so
That's
I'll
it.
say
The tables are done. We're over it.
we've
not
over
Tinder anymore.
tenderized.
We're all angry now. We're now brick hard
Tense
tables.
tables.
Okay, I'll tell. Okay,
Tense tables.
I'll say.
It's getting violent.
I'll say this. Something that I am proud of for kind of like this season in general, or like, you know, this half of the year that we've been streaming so far. Very proud of, from a narrative standpoint, introducing Boromir Stevens and Miss Merrill and having everyone latch onto them so much, I think has been been a wonderful affirmation to myself as like a writer / kind of like a GM in general, that the NPCs are so memorable that everyone really enjoys them and really enjoys role playing them like themselves. I think that's always like one of those moments where it's like just very it is very vindicating as a keeper to see that it's impacted the players so strongly that they also want to play with the toys, you know, on their sessions as well. And then outside of the narrative, I think as long as we have been doing this rotating GM format, I feel like season 3 is like really the culmination of like nearly 2 years worth of learning for us as a group in general, and kind of like doing this format. And I'm really happy with the way things are going, and I think I'm very excited to see, you know, what the culmination of the story will be. And I think everyone has been doing a really great job with their characters and stuff, and I think that's part of that is just kind of that collaboration that we set up at the beginning of season 3 during development. So that is, I would say those are the kind of the three things. The last one wasn't necessarily something about me, it was more about us.
Yeah,
so
feel
y'all
like
can
we
do that
cheated
too
here.
if you want, and cop out if you'd like, but those are my self affirmations, I think. Oh, that's right. I said I was going to pass it off to somebody.
You said you popcorn
yeah.
it, so
Correct.
it's on you.
Masha, you're next.
Oh, fuck. Okay. I mean, yay!
Oh my gosh, we're so positive.
The negative self-talk is real in this brain sometimes. It's just something that we're, like, proud of this season, like, specific to Turntables, I assume.
Yeah, yeah.
Specifically with yourself, I think is the point.
Right. I don't know. The thing that kind of immediately comes to mind is, like, right now I'm working part-time, and then when we kicked this back up, I was in school also. Semester's over, so that's done. But I was and am pretty proud of myself for mostly doing a good job of balancing everything, making sure that I was, you know, well rested for work, well studied for school, and then still showing up to this with as much energy as I could. You know, and I am like, I don't know, I had never balanced that kind of stuff together before. So there were definitely a couple weeks where I like was exhausted and like not doing a great job, but I don't know, proud of that. And I think I was also sick for like 2 of the 3 weeks of my mystery, and I'm pretty proud of myself for making it through that fairly successfully as well. Like, it was, you know, one of those things where I didn't realize how exhausted I was until like the camera was off, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've been sick for like a week and a half, like, you know, that did it. Man, both of those things sound like me applauding myself for like working really, really hard in this hellscape that is the world, but
It deserves
I'm proud of you for
recognition.
working really hard in this
Yeah,
hellscape of the world
yeah,
too.
all right,
Absolutely.
fair enough. So yeah, I think that for me, like, I know that maybe the expectation was like something creative or something like that, but I think for me it was like working hard to balance things in my life and trying to like learn where that balance is in a relatively new situation for me. And I'm going to turn it back to a compliment. I appreciate all of you for being patient with me during this season too, with just all the things that I've been juggling. On to the next. Let's make Chris go.
Me. Impossible. I don't know. I do okay. I don't know.
Think hard, Chris.
No,
Good job.
I mean,
I'm proud of you for that.
yeah, I did. I mean, okay, I did okay, I guess. I don't know. It's one of those things that I'm very self-critical of myself.
Sure.
And so I have my personal opinions on things I wish my contributions to the story I wish were a little more less messy in my eyes. And that's just my own thing, I guess, maybe. But I apologize if anyone was like, "Dang, this guy's don't know what's going on." I promise you, it's true. I will say I was fairly happy with how my mystery went. I wanted to do something distinct and different. I wanted to like shake up the formula a bit and not have like I didn't want to I wanted to play with the formula a bit and have a situation that is not common in not common with Monster of the Week while still like tying itself into sort of the horror vibes, and sort of really because I like putting characters in very stressful situations, and so I felt like that was a lot more successful than I thought it was going to be, and I very much appreciate all the scenes and my fellow players' willingness to play along with my shenanigans, because I didn't give them an average. I didn't just give them a straight up monster, and I put them in a very time sensitive clock, and I thought it ended up going fairly well.
It did.
I still think I could have done a few things better, but as is. I'm just so humble.
Thank you for begrudgingly saying that, Chris, because I agree with you. I think the session that mystery went really, really well. Is a very much a keystone within the story, and like you did a hell of a job, and it was a lot of stress. And so as someone who played in that and was very stressed out during it, you did your job well.
Okay, thank you. Destine, compliment yourself.
We just went counterclockwise on my screen, which is funny. Anyway. Okay. I haven't done my mystery yet. I'll let the people at home fret about what that may mean. So I can't really talk about
the next season
my contribution to the plot yet. As far as like the majority of the plot, so I can't really say anything about that. But I have been paying attention to small things that I don't even think a lot of times the keeper has realized, and I'm really looking forward to displaying what that is. Again, I can't say anything about that because I can't. I'm doing the finale. There, I said it. I'm doing the finale. I'm just coming out and saying
the next season.
And I
don't know why I like this joke. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Patreon exclusive the next season. Anyways, and so I can't really like talk too much about my plans, obviously, because where would the fun in that be? So I have done a good job fighting with Saul this whole time. I think.
Behind the scenes, Dustin and Saul in a Discord call just start screaming at each other.
Yeah.
Y'all think you were friends?
Picture that from the two of them.
It's
Yeah.
literally 2 hours of Saul and Dustin arguing about which ships in Turntables RPG are more valid than others.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Which is wild because we've not really been on the water very much.
Boo. Oh my god.
Dustin's very proud of that pun.
I am. I'm always proud of puns that my favorite puns are the ones where people don't even know what to say and they flip me off for it, and I love it because they're just like, "You suck. You're the worst,"
Sure.
and I'm like in a lighthearted manner.
That's okay.
I said words, and I know that they're nice to me.
I think
You guys don't know.
I'll definitely
Yeah.
say I think you've done a really wonderful job with Cole this season. He's kind of like a bit of a tonal shift from season 2, but still very much Cole and still like in a brand new way and like works really well.
Cole has also weirdly gotten the shit beaten out of him this season.
Yes.
Well, not even like physically in harm points, but just like you've lost your van. Arthur's punched you like 3 times.
I told you I've done great fighting Saul this season.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's been a good time. I mean, not like if I was actually fighting Saul, it would not be a good time, but in character.
Guys, whenever this is why we all can't be in the same place. It'll just turn into a boxing event.
Me and Masha actually had to fight physically.
Yeah,
It's true. I saw.
Talking about it since we met.
Yep.
I don't remember it because it concussed me.
damn.
If y'all are wondering why I'm no longer the same person after Gen Con 2021, that's why. Sorry, that's a really ominous thing to say. That's a joke. I'm sorry.
Always compliment yourself.
Good hair. I don't know. I think that before coming on Turntables, I had never GM'd any sort of mystery. And now that I am like, I think my last mystery was pretty solid, and I am GMing on an entire mini campaign now, and like that's a pretty big deal for me because I have a lot of anxiety around my storytelling ability. So I guess one thing that I feel like really solidified me as like, okay, I can GM was this season, and this past mystery was like watching everyone's expression when it turns out you weren't fighting the vampire, but a big wolf was gonna come hunt you down. That was very fun.
I love that. Also, because your mystery, we gave you so much shit. The fact that you feel good after that, I was like, good. That's the testament of a GM, is that you can take the shit. Yeah, cool. I appreciate y'all doing that. I know it can be very uncomfortable to compliment oneself, but if there's anything that I've learned on my short stint on this earth, is that everything starts here with yourself. So if you want to be kind to others, be kind to yourself as well. So appreciate y'all going on that journey with me. We won't be doing that next week. We might go back to the same format, or I might make y'all do something else since I have the reins for this small amount of time. So stay tuned for that. Before we jump into our mystery for the night, I do have a small intro. This one I did not type out because it's a very quick kind of like setup for where we're going to start this session. So Chris, if you would please play something, let's go with like something eerie or mysterious, something along those lines. I would appreciate it, Maestro. Yes, good. So, we open on the Glen of the Fogwell. And as in the background, we watch Philip emphatically speaking with an Atticus Campbell, who is half his height, clad in their purple robes. How many fingers do raccoons have?
At least
5.
3.
3. Masha, help me.
I think
5.
Mars.
I think.
Yeah,
They have
Mars.
5 digits.
Yeah, Mars said very
Yeah.
confidently 5.
Okay, cool.
And I
Yeah.
trust them.
That's true. That's true. Atticus Campbell speaking emphatically with their 5 raccoon fingers. Miss Merrill turns to the captain, who has been standing off to the side with his giant anchor, and giving him kind of like a small, solemn nod. He lifts the anchor and begins to carry it to the tree line that kind of encircles the glen in and of itself, while Miss Merrill raises her white cane and kind of like moves it around slowly to coil in some of the fog that emanates from the fog well and encompasses this space. Like tendrils of spider silk, the fog kind of wrap around the cane, and she brings a clump of it into her palm and mutters a few words before scattering them into the wind. Slowly but surely, the fog in the center dissipates out to the edges of the glen so that this area within is relatively clear. However, the fog intensifies, coalesces, and begins to slowly rotate into a dome-like structure, rising all the way up to the top. For those within, notably some things begin to change in the sense that rather than the cool air that fog usually comes with, the space becomes slightly warm as this kind of dome coalesces, along with the sounds of the forest beginning to become muffled. And as these outside sounds begin to muffle, the dome closes up and a loud explosion is heard from town. A large trail of smoke beginning to raise up to the sky, adding another plume of darkness emanating from the ever falling state of Fogwell at this time. And within this dome, everyone none the wiser. Welcome to Monster of the Week.
Right.
But you're
That's
really
right.
just a little warm. That's so funny. Huh? I
That's
can't
why
even
Miss
imagine.
Merrill. That's why Miss Merrill wanted to protect him so much, because
He's just a little warm.
He's just a little worm, and
Oh,
like
my
not a
little
big
worm.
worm. He's a regular-sized worm.
He's just a regular sized worm in a,
You
big,
guys
a
just-
very big trench coat.
No, you guys just thought he was far away.
Oh.
Cole, please, why is he so
What is
far
happening?
away? Cole's a
Are we
little
mad?
worm.
It was all
What's happening?
a master class on forced perspective.
That's right. That's right.
We're gonna have Ian McKellen crying in a green screen room.
Oh, no, that's still so sad.
It's very sad. It's like it's a depressing video. Anyway, sorry.
We're feeding
Yes.
fuel into the fire of the theory that Cole has been a worm this entire time.
Like since season 2.
Yeah. Well, since before he was even born.
Well, no, he was born a worm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's what I mean. Anyway, sorry. Who are we dead?
So we are going. So a quick recap of what happened last session. Following the events of Mystery Number 4, where Miss Merrill's antique shop got wrecked by a combo of a cursed tree man and Cole Van Helsing's Cole Van Helsing, the crew essentially helps Miss Merrill relocate from the antique shop to the abandoned ranger station from season 2, and have kind of like set up camp there. And so we start the session with like the autopsy of Daniel Foster's tree and his body, I suppose, where we find out that the tree does have leftover remnants of the seed crystals, along with the cause of death for the body was just like extreme shock of a body thrust into normal bodily functions after being dormant for such a long time. Within this time, we also find out that Miss Merrill is kind of in the process of trying to help Philip figure out more of kind of like the magical abilities that he has, because within the structure of the world, Miss Merrill believes that the best case scenario, the solution to the problem of Mount Ira exploding and spreading this seed material to not just Zorba County but possibly further on, is magic. And Philip, in her mind, is probably the strongest magic user within Zorba County, along with herself and an extra individual who we find out later is Atticus Campbell in his little raccoony body. So she attempts to kind of like convince Philip to join her for kind of like a little magic session in general. Fig is going over the different bodies and creates a magical snare throughout this process from the wood of Daniel Foster's cursed body. Ren is kind of like combing over themselves, and because they had just used unicorn blood to separate the body of Daniel Foster from the tree that he had been cursed into by Carnunos. However, using the unicorn blood has essentially marked them and their being with this kind of with a marker that makes them stand out within the magical auras of our specific Monster of the Week universe as something that is to be shunned or like essentially like exiled from places of magical kind of sanctuary in general, like this forest. And then Cole finds out that essentially over the course of the last few days, the town has been in the process of kind of like almost emptying out. People have been trying to leave, take their families away. That there's still a few, there's still a good chunk of individuals that are trying to stay or trying to keep people to stay and things of that nature. But everyone is very, essentially from the events of season of Mystery 4, with the demolishment of Miss Merrill's antique shop, tensions are high and people are very scared, and they're like, that was a pillar of the community and now it's gone, and they're very scared for their own livelihoods and their families and things of that nature. They know that it had something to do with this group of people and something fucking weird. So things are kind of wild, and the police force is very stretched thin because there's just too much shit going on. So Cole decides to go into town to try and help. Ren is confronted by Carnunos, who arrives to tell them that they are exiled from the forest, and bid them not to return. And so Ren kind of files into the car with Cole to leave as well. And Fig jumps in to go to help as well. While at the same time, Miss Merrill kind of like reminds Fig that home is more than just a four set of walls in general, and that, you know, it's the people that you love and things of that nature, or that you care for, that kind of build that home for you. And so with that, the two parties kind of split. Cole, Fig, and Ren go into town, while Philip follows Miss Merrill deeper into the forest towards the fog well. When they arrive at the fog well, they are met with Atticus Campbell and the captain, kind of getting ready for this, essentially this campfire story time at the fog well. While when we go into town, Miss Merrill lets Fig know before she leaves that Miss Merrill, in the craziness that has happened since Mystery 4, Miss Merrill has not had any time to essentially call her contacts to try and fix up the store or get a quote for like what the damages are going to be, anything of that nature. But right now, you know, the most important thing is to make sure the things in the basement don't get touched by normal people, and like the store doesn't get vandalized, all this kind of stuff. And as the crew goes into town, they decide, you know, starting at Miss Merrill's shop is probably a good start in general, to try and help people. Along the way, they fall in line with Boromir Stevens, our friendly neighborhood weed advocate and overall chill dude. And they pick him up because he's in a very distraught state because his life is in shambles, following the events of Mystery 3, where his co-op went up in flames. And so they essentially park outside the antique shop and find that there is some kind of construction crew there clearing out the mess, which Fig immediately clocks as suspicious. And so Fig and Ren head into the antique shop, leaving Cole and Boromir in the car to kind of stake out the situation. Finally asking some of the construction members, who are all wearing over-the-ear noise-canceling headphones, the Ren and Fig find out that, you know, if they want to talk to somebody who's in charge, they have to go down to the basement, which they head down that way, immediately find that the lights are off, and when they call out for someone, they hear the shattering of glass. So they run inside. Ren turns on the light in the middle of the room, with the light string illuminating the space, and all they can see is a broken window off to the side. Fig kind of like inspects the space closer and finds that there is a device attached to the ceiling of this basement that Ren just activated with the string. Yeah, I say device. It's a bomb. It was a bomb. And the two like managed to kind of like get themselves out of the window. Ren goes out first, but Fig is trying and failing to get out of this very thin window from the basement. So Ren jumps back inside to help Fig get out. And with the help of Cole, who helps clear out the glass and pull them out into the alleyway at the time, Fig manages to get out. However, at this same point in time, as soon as they went in, Cole was in the car, Miss Merrill's lemon car, out in the street. When he noticed that as soon as like a couple seconds after Ren and Fig go into the antique shop, everyone clears out. All those construction workers immediately drop everything, jump into the truck outside, and peel out. Super suspicious. He turns to Boromir to say, to let him know that something's off, when he feels a needle go into his arm, a syringe emptying out, and Boromir saying that he's sorry before his body begins to go numb. And so now, Fig and Cole are out in the alleyway, reaching to help Ren get out of the basement when the bomb goes off. The two are thrown backwards. Each take, I'm pretty sure I said 4 damage for the two of you.
4 harm.
4 harm. Blasted backwards into the alleyway as the antique shop explodes, and Ren dies. And that's where we left off. So, like I said,
God, it sure is.
God, it sure is.
Yeah.
Now, I would like I said with the intro, this is where we are going to start, and that is going to be with Philip at the Fogwell. So Philip, as you've been kind of talking with Atticus Campbell, you've noticed that this dome has essentially kind of like appeared above you, and is kind of acting as kind of like a protective sphere around this area, and you see that the captain is actually standing right outside the sphere, not within its boundaries.
Oh wow! Isn't this fun? This is so exciting. We got all the four amigos, the Fogwell Four, our own little coven of magic people. This is so. I mean, this is crazy. This is a real little group now. This is cool. Is this the B team?
Damn it! I forgot my sunglasses. It's okay. I'll just use the pen. Miss Merrill just kind of like chippers up, and she's like, "Don't get used to it, okay? I don't like working in clubs."
I think you're the dark brooding one of the group, but you'll learn family is the true meaning in a small stint of 2 hours and 45 minutes.
You hear Atticus Campbell pipe up, and he's like, "Well, I am used to working with teams. In fact, I used to have a whole organization that I used to be a part of. The good old days, I'd say." And Miss Merrill kind of pipes up, and she says, "Wasn't your whole organization just like a Ponzi scheme for a evil world-dominating organization? We don't talk about that. Way to bring up something that's traumatizing and very polarizing from my past."
I trust all of you implicitly.
Good, that's good. And you see him kind of like templing with his little raccoon fingers. And Miss Merrill just kind of puts a hand up, and she's like, "Could you please put your paws inside your sleeves? It's very unnerving to see you using the dexterity of a human, but with the fingers of a raccoon." And he's like, and Atticus Campbell's like, "Did you know that if primates didn't exist, the next animal that could inherit the earth is actually the raccoon, because we do have 5 digits." And
That's crazy. Is that a real fact?
And Miss Merrill's like, "Here, if I give you a sugar cube, will you shut the fuck up?" And Atticus Campbell's like, "Yes!" And so she digs into her purse and tosses him a sugar cube, and he walks over to the fog well, dips it into the water, and goes to eat it, but immediately watches it dissolve in his hands, and like,
no!
his hands like is shocked and shaking, and Miss Merrill just kind of like sits down on a nearby tree stump, saying nothing, but looking very pleased with herself.
This is so much fun, all of us together, the Fogwell 4. We're gonna get t-shirts. We're having such a good time. All my friends are safe, having a good time in town, and I'm here hanging out with with some new best buddies, and we can all be friends together, the Fogwell 4. And we don't have a name for the other group, but the other group is my main crew, and this is sort of my side gig. It's a whole thing. It's a whole cool thing.
Yes, we understand, Philip. We're your second choice. Now, can we get this over with?
No, but you're so important to me because I don't have a lot of magic friends. And it's nice to know all the most powerful people in Zorbek County are all in one place.
Atticus Campbell kind of like shuffles back from the pond, still kind of like flexing his raccoon fingers with what could have been, and just kind of like plops down and like sits down, not crisscross applesauce, but like, butt on the ground and his feet kind of sticking forward, right next to the stump, so that essentially Philip, Miss Merrill, and Atticus Campbell kind of make like a little triangle between the 3 of them next to the fog well. And he kind of sits down and he says, "While I wallow in my disappointment, can we get this started?" And Miss Merrill just kind of like takes a puff from her long cigarette and kind of like looks at Philip, and says, "Right, so Philip, what do you understand about magic?"
Oh boy. Well, you see, magic is when you get, well, hold on. If you think about it, magic is sort of the thing in your tiny part of your belly that makes you think to yourself, wow, I am connected to something dark and greater that I can never ever fully understand, but will always have deep control over me. Oh, goodness.
Miss Merrill just kind of like, her hands are like covering her cane, and she's got the one smoking long cigarette kind of like sticking out. And she just
I used to know more.
I think Atticus Campbell's like, I see. So you're a natural. That's good.
Well, you see, it's one of those things. It's hard to think about. I used to really understand it, but then I did something I don't like to think about, and then it's kind of hard. Things just sort of happen now. I will them into existence for it whenever I feel it. But it used to be I had a whole plan, and then I think even it's one of those weird things where I knew more about it when I was worst at it, and now that I'm better at it, I know less about it.
You seem rather conflicted, Philip.
I am a little bit all over the place.
That's what we need to work on. And she kind of takes another puff and she says, "You're all over the place inside, Philip. And if you want to if you want to find that
most of my organs are not attached to each other.
If you want to find that next level within your
Are you going to kill me?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we're gonna have to.
Because I think that might be how it works.
She kind of pauses for a moment and she says, "You need to find balance within yourself, Philip."
I don't like that word.
Balance?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It has a weird mouthfeel.
How about quiet?
I do like quiet. I don't know exactly what that means anymore, but I would really like it.
Why do you say that, Philip?
I hear a lot of things all the time.
Like what?
Okay, well, I haven't really... I've only named a few of them, but the general connection, I don't know, it's kind of hard. I get the dark voices. I'm usually referred to them generally as the dark voices, but some of them I think are just general spirits I'm sensing around from who have died in this area and sort of long for any kind of existence beyond the in-between world they found themselves trapped in. That or they're reaching out to me from hell. I don't know which one. And then also I have some other voices with names and they tell me that I need to be doing certain things. And I'm just like, hey man, I'm at the wheel.
As you're saying this, you see that Miss Merrill's has a grin that gets kind of wider and wider. And you see that she kind of reaches up and she takes out the cigarette from her from the long handle and kind of like puts it out quickly before pulling out, going into her bag and pulling out a much more kind of like hand wrapped type of...
Oh shit, you got the good stuff.
Boromir gave this one to me as a payment. And
he's such a nice boy.
Shut up.
She puts it into her long cigarette and lights it. And you see she kind of takes a really deep drag and it almost like burns through like half of the blunt. And she kind of like, she looks at you and she says, "Well, Philip, I think I figured out what we're going to have to do next."
Are we passing it around? Is this the dream joint blunt rotation?
Miss Merrill, Agus Campbell is a raccoon, and Philip
Dream blunt
the team dream blunt.
That's your next drawing, Chris.
Yeah, literally.
You had that drawing that you posted where it was like them at the fog wall and it was silly. I feel like just Photoshop a blunt in there. I don't know, man.
Miss Merrill kind of like chuckles a little bit, and you see some of the smoke that she's inhaled kind of like begin to drift out of her mouth and out of her nostrils, and she shrugs and she says, "Probably wouldn't hurt, but I'm telling you right now, Philip, as we move forward, I think our best course of action," and she looks, she kind of stares in your direction, and the smoke that was coming out of her mouth and out of her nostrils is billowing out now, kind of like in waves. And she's like, "I think you're gonna have to listen to the voices." As the fog begins, as this smoke begins to kind of like envelop the three of you, and like begin to kind of like shift the space very softly within. And with that, we're going to shift over to Fig. Hey Fig.
Yup.
How
hey.
How you doing, friend?
I'm great.
Good.
Why do you ask?
Because you find yourself strewn in an alleyway, shell-shocked, ears ringing, having taken 4 damage, so you are unstable.
Oh god, I forgot about that.
As you begin to come to, there are a couple things that come immediately to your attention, right? The first thing is the way you were blasted back and the way you fell on the ground. You are 98% positive that maybe 1 or 2 of your ribs are like broken, like pretty badly. Like you shift and it is a stabbing pain within your side. And it like you have like it's a little hard to breathe in the moment. Secondly, as you begin to kind of like break out of your haze, Cole is gone. He's nowhere to be seen.
Cole is gone?
Cole is gone.
Who?
Uh-oh. Who? Don't shoot Dustin. Please.
What call?
Cole is not in this alleyway with you.
What stinky man?
Okay. Cool. Well, I definitely recall Ren crawling back into the building. So, where's Ren?
You like shift your body and look back over at the direction of the building, and you just see a mass of rubble, and smoke, just kind of like 10 feet, 15 feet away from you. Just this giant, mass of rubble. You don't see Ren anywhere. It's at this moment that you feel kind of like a wriggling within your body, and slowly, a little singed but wholly undamaged, your little mister kind of like comes out of your collar, and kind of like as you're on the ground, he kind of like very slowly kind of like, you can see, he's scared, like he's very much not used to experiences like that, so he's
buddy. Same pal, my guy.
And like in his somewhat terrified state, he peeks out, kind of climbs out of your clothing, and does kind of like skirt to you a little bit, and kind of like curls up within like the nape of your neck, in kind of like a small ball, and he's trembling slightly.
I think I cough and stand up, and I probably can't hear very well, considering explosion make eardrum go pop sometimes. I think I'm gonna call for Cole, and I'm gonna call for Ren and see if I get any kind of response, like in the like brief moments after I kind of come back to reality here.
Yeah, it's
I get nothing.
You call out, and it's very much that experience of like having like waterlogged ears, or just like calling out when your ears are just like covered up in general. Like it almost kind of like echoes within your head. It sounds very strange and warbly, but you know that you are calling out. You do get like in your periphery, you sense, you begin to kind of like tell that there's movement happening in your periphery, but nothing has come within your eye line yet. But nothing moves from the rubble. Nothing comes into this alleyway. It is just you, little man, and the rubble of what used to be the antique store.
Yeah. I think despite the severity of her injuries, I think Fig is going to start trying to like move some of this rubble to try to get to where she thinks that Ren is. And if I could suggest is not the right word. I believe it's not on this character sheet. I think it's on the sheet that I lost. I believe that I took the alternate move, no limits.
The alternate.
And I'm wondering if I could use, like no, because I feel like otherwise it's like, well, Fig, I don't know how the fuck you think you're gonna move a bunch of rubble, but I feel like this would be Fig pushing at and beyond her limits.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No limits. When you push your physical body past its limits, roll plus weird. Yeah, if you would like to do that, I will absolutely. That sounds good to me.
I don't know why I'm asking to roll. I only have a +1 to weird, and I consistently roll dice very poorly, so. Okay, that's a 3 and a 5, which is 8, plus my 1 weird is a 9.
Gotcha.
And I actually don't have no limits pulled up, so I'll have to pull up the text for that.
I've got it if you'd like.
Okay, thank you.
On a 7 to 9, you do it, but choose one consequence: suffer 1 harm, take a -1 forward, or you need to rest right now.
Okay, well, I really don't want to take 1 harm because I'm at 4, and I really don't want to rest right now because I'm on a crunch. So I think I'm going to take a -1 forward. I think that makes the most sense. I am exerting myself severely and probably, like,
Yeah.
making bones do crunchy against each other, yeah.
Go ahead and tell me, tell me how, like, Fig kind of, like, centers themselves to do this and, like, what it looks like as you are digging through the rubble.
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. Tell me, like, what Fig does to kind of, like, center herself, and then, like, dig through the rubble. Like, what's happening there?
Well, she can't really hear anything, and I think that everything absolutely hurts. So she closes her eyes and kind of, like, squeezes little man a little bit and, like, pulls him and then gives him a little kiss on his little forehead. And then kind of perches him on her back and says, if you see anything weird coming up, please tap me or something. And he gets it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Mechanics. He's a bodyguard. He'll know. And I think that she takes off her massive backpack and, like, puts all her weapons down and pulls out a pair of, like, thick, like, probably, like, gardening or leather gloves, you know, just to kind of protect her hands a little bit. Takes a deep breath, wipes, like, a pain tear from her eye, and gets to work.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there are a few things in Fig's favor, in the sense that relative to where she was, you can still kind of tell where the window was, and that was the last place you saw Ren, which was pretty close to the alleyway. So you do have kind of like a very good localized idea of where to dig. I think your biggest challenge right now is the fact that there is so much to have to dig through. You know, you're pulling pieces and you're doing a really good job considering the fact that you are unstable, you're wounded. As you are kind of like pulling the rubble out, more rubble kind of falls into its place. So it becomes kind of like this very just like frustrating kind of experience of like, I want to find my friend, and yet the weight of this building and the rubble of this building is keeping me from doing so. And so I think as you are doing this, is there anything that like Fig is specifically thinking about? Like, how's Fig feeling right now? You know, like, it's like you just got up from a bomb blast and you are now digging for your friend's body within this rubble. So like, what exactly is she compartmentalizing stuff? Like, what's going on in Fig's head right now, you know?
I think Fig is compartmentalizing hardcore. I think it's like this is no time to be like worried about herself. This is no time to like think about the worst possible scenario. This is the time for doing. This is the time for like, no one else is here to help. You gotta get your friend out in the chance they are still alive. You have such a and I think that it's just, there is no room in her head for thoughts of doubt or thoughts of fear. I think it is just pure pain and adrenaline like pushing up against each other. And if and when she is done, she will collapse in a sobbing heap thing, you know.
Yeah. Um,
So that is what's going on in her head, I think, is just panic. A little bit of panic, a little bit of stress.
yeah.
Little bit, just a little bit.
I think as you are, as you're kind of like digging out the rubble, I think that you do feel little man kind of like, he like quickly kind of like bumps his head against your neck as kind of like the symbol of like, hey, turn this way, or like pay attention to this. As you suddenly see like several pairs of hands kind of like come to either side of you, and begin grabbing rubble and kind of like pulling as well. You turn to the side and you see just citizens of Fogwell, just people you've never met before, kind of like helping you. You see that you do see Sheriff Lester amongst them, and he's kind of like giving you a look of just kind of like straight just confusion and like and worry, as he's kind of like, he's moving rubble, but he is kind of like slightly making his way over to you.
I think I see him and pretend that I don't.
Okay. I think I'll say over the course of this, it's been like maybe 10 minutes, right? And you can feel your body somewhat slowing down, especially now that you're not kind of like by yourself anymore. You're still going at it, and your no limits is still going. The adrenaline's still pumping in general. But there is the added aspect of now there's multiple people pulling at this rubble, and the rubble is still not giving way to anything. It's still just kind of taking its place. And like, time has passed. You've been at this activity, people are helping you, and results are still not yielding. You're in pain. There's panic. There's a lot of like, there's panic and fear, and you've been so focused on just getting these results, and the results are not coming. I'm going to ask you to roll an act under pressure to fight off the effects of the seethe. And I'm going to
okay.
ask you.
Oh god, and I have a -1, don't I?
You have a -1 forward.
Damn.
Oops,
that was a mistake.
Like, as you're like, as no results are coming, all you're thinking about, all you're trying to stop yourself from thinking about is how Ren came in after you, like how Ren came back inside to help you. And like, it's the thing that you've been pushing away this entire time as you've been trying to save them, move this rubble. But the more no results are being shown, the more frustrated you are getting. And the more you're trying not to think about it. So I'm going to ask you to roll that.
Yeah, okay. I like it. Act under pressure.
Yeah.
That's a 6, and normally I have a +1 to my cool, but because I have a -1 forward, it's a 6.
Okay. All right.
I level up.
Yes. Yeah. Congrats.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You definitely mark experience, level up.
God.
You've heard Arthur kind of talk about this in the past of like what it feels like, but actually experiencing it is something very different. Like, this overwhelming burning anger just begins to well up from like your diaphragm into your chest, into your throat, into your head. Like, it is a fire burning through your body. And I'll say on a miss, on a miss, you are very upset that all these other people are trying to help you. It is your job and your job alone to find your friend, and you need them to scatter. You need them to go away.
I need to do this on my own. Everyone else needs to get the fuck out of here.
You see the people nearest to you kind of like back up, and they're kind of surprised at your sudden shift. They're just trying to help, and you see Sheriff Lester kind of puts a hand on them, and it's still kind of hard to hear as your ears are recovering, but they a lot of the people kind of begin to back away, and I'll say Sheriff Lester kind of like looks at you, and you notice that his hand is on his pistol to the side, and you didn't notice, but now your hands are holding your rifle. In your anger, as you kind of like called all these people out, you had grabbed your weapon and not necessarily brandished it at them, but you are holding it very defensively. And you can see that Sheriff Lester kind of has his hand out. He has not unclipped his weapon. He just kind of has his hand hovering, and he's just trying to talk to you. Go ahead and roll me another act under pressure. This time without the -1 forward.
Okay. Of course I roll a flat 10. It's 11 total.
Okay. Yeah, you like as
6 and a 4.
As quickly as the anger kind of like flared up in you and caused you to act this way, you notice his expression and like the reality of like the realization of the weapon in your hands, this weapon that you have used to kind of like hunt and to protect people and to kind of like never as like in an aggressive way. Your weapon was never meant to be something that was meant to cause fear in people, but now that it has become that you have wielded it in such a way, it's like a plunge in cold water, and you are like you very slowly set down the gun, and you quickly kind of regain control of yourself, but like now you kind of know a little bit about like how quickly the seed can take control of you if you're not careful, and like how quickly it can cause you to escalate to violence or aggression, which can be dangerous for individuals such as our party who are so strong with that. Oh hey, thanks for the raid.
What a time!
This is the moment.
Congratulations! You're having You've joined, or just as we're having an emotional breakdown after a character dies.
Wolf knows what it's like to have me.
It's emotional out here.
Somebody, thank you for also following. Appreciate it. Yeah, y'all are coming. This is So just to kind of like zero back into what's going on right now in the role play. Masha Fig has kind of like broken out of this spell from the seethe, out of the aggression, out of the violence that has taken hold of many of our characters this season. You find yourself having dropped your weapon, staring at Sheriff Lester, who's trying to calm you down, as you just kind of scared everyone away who was trying to help you dig for Ren's dead body in the rubble. So it's kind of like
Stop saying that.
So you're like, it's I think you come to, and Sheriff Lester's just kind of like, Fig, what happened?
I'm sorry, I don't know what just Ren is down there somewhere. They pulled me out of the building, and then they're in there. I don't know if they're still alive, but I don't think that they have a long time if they're buried under all of that rubble.
He turns to look, and he looks at the rubble, and he looks back at you, and Fig, it looks like a bomb went off.
It did go off. A bomb went off.
And Ren was there?
I mean, we were all there. I can barely hear what you're saying right now, and I'm in bad shape, and I think that, like, I start, like, slumping a little bit.
I will say, I definitely say, I think at this point, like 15 minutes has passed, and y'all have cleared a good chunk of the rubble. It's like definitely in the alleyway and like things of that nature, but the no limits is beginning to wean, and I think and any more time on your feet, and you are going to take another point of harm. I'm going to say, just because like you did no limits as you were unstable. So it's like even though you didn't take the -1 from the no limits itself, just the sheer exertion that you put yourself through. Yeah. So I'll say
no.
like,
That's as keeper, you're allowed to make that hard move against me when I'm unstable. 100%.
So you are, so yeah, you're like, you know, kind of beginning to waver a little bit. Your skin is pale, and I think Sheriff Lester kind of quickly kind of like comes to you and kind of like drapes your arm over his shoulder, kind of like stabilize your body, and he says, "Listen, Fig, I get it. I've been there, but right now, as you are, you're not gonna help them. We need to fix you up, and we need to fix you up fast. Where's Cole? I thought he came with you."
Fuck, where is Cole? And I'm gonna look around for him and for the car that we all came in. Is the car here?
Yeah. So Sheriff Lester kind of like props you up and kind of like begins moving, and he takes you to the end of the alleyway, and you begin to see that there are the first thing that kind of comes to your attention. There's several cars kind of just driving past you with people and their belongings kind of strapped to it, just driving out and stuff like that. So there's some people kind of like taking pictures of this smoking ruin across the street and stuff like that, and others who are kind of like they like run up and then they look at the situation and quickly run away. However, the one thing you remember is that you and Ren left Cole and Boromir on the street, staking out inside Miss Merrill's lemon car, right?
Right.
And as you go out there, the car is gone. Cole and Boromir are nowhere to be found. You do see, I'll say this, you do get this for free because you are who you are. You do see tire tracks from where they were parked, peeling out, heading, east.
Sheriff, I don't know, I can't do a convincing cough, voice acting wise, sorry. I really don't have a good feeling about... Would Cole just leave me and Ren like that?
Not without a really good reason.
Maybe he got hurt too and Boromir took him to get help. I don't think he'd leave me and Ren. I really can't think straight. I'm in a lot of pain. I can't leave Ren either. What if they get out of there and none of us here are their friend? None of us are familiar.
You do notice that as you coughed, a little bit of blood coughed out as well and kind of splattered on the pavement. And I'm going to say, go ahead and take that -1 harm as you go to 5.
Another harm?
Correct.
Oh my god. Ugh.
And Sheriff Lester's like, you see he's kind of like very much kind of like compartmentalizing a lot of the information that you're saying in his head. And he's like, listen, Fig, if Ren does climb out of there, that's gonna make me rethink a lot of things about life in general. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But they are capable and they'll find a way. You know that they will. But right now, you gotta take care of yourself before you can take care of them. Or if, come back. Because this is... I've been there, and you don't want to end up in a place where you can't help them, and you yourself are dying too.
I think I'm about 5/7 of the way there, Sheriff Lester.
And he kind of pauses for a moment. What a meta comment.
Sorry. Yeah, you're welcome.
I somewhat understand what you mean. I think he's going to pause for a moment and he's going to say, can I at least take you to get fixed up? As soon as you feel better, we'll bring you right back. This, and he points to the whole situation. He's like, this isn't going anywhere.
I mean, my alternative is to die here. And I'd rather not.
And he kind of nods, and he begins to kind of like shuffle you down the street, where you see that his truck is like haphazardly parked, as he like basically just like peeled up, parked on the curb to try and like get to where this was all happening. So he begins to kind of like carry you in that direction. Real quick, I want to touch base with the group. Do we need to take the 10-minute break right now, or can we go a little bit longer? How's everyone feeling?
I'm good.
I'm good with going longer.
Whenever.
Go either way, yeah.
Cool. I only need like we'll just need a little bit more time because I do want to jump to Cole. Hello, friend. Good to see you. Happy that you're here. So Cole.
Cole's dead.
Uh-oh.
No, that's Ren.
Cole too.
No, that's Philip. He's been dead the whole time.
Cole,
No way.
after your body went numb from whatever Boromir stuck you with, he quickly kind of got out of the car and like shuffled, like essentially just shoved you into the passenger seat as he turned the car and peeled out from this place. You're kind of like you're shoved up against the window, your body immobilized as he turns the corner, peels off, and you hear a huge explosion that rattles the windows of the car. And like you can kind of see from your face being pressed up against the window in the side view mirror a huge ball of fire and smoke coming from the antique shop. The car continues moving, right? And Boromir continues pushing. He doesn't even blink when the antique shop goes up in flames. He just, like, you can tell his hands are shaking, and he's very, very pale and sweating, and he's just driving. Eventually, he stops at the high school, at the Fogwell High School. And you see him get out of the car and kind of like, he goes over to the passenger sidecar, picks you up, and kind of, he's not strong enough to lift you, so he's just kind of like dragging you across the parking lot of the high school before he's like, oh, fuck. And he puts you on the ground, runs back to the, or he puts you on the ground, he's like shuffling into like his very baggy pants, and he pulls out a burlap sack. And he's like, puts it on your head. You know where you are. He puts it on your head, picks you up, and continues to drag you as you kind of like, as you hear him kind of like, you feel yourself go up the curb, drag on the grass, drag on the cement. You hear the sound of like one of the double doors opening. You can hear the sound of Boromir's sneakers squeaking on wood. And like several other doors kind of like closing and opening and things of that nature as you're finally kind of like sat down on a chair. Your hands are quickly tied behind you on the backside of the chair, and the burlap sack is taken off. At this point in time, it's just you and Boromir. And you look around and you find yourself sitting within the locker room of the locker room of the high school. It's completely empty right now, except for you tied against the chair, and Boromir kind of like sitting down, looking very, very tired, kind of holding the burlap sack between his hands. At this point in time, for sure, I want to say like 20 minutes have passed max. The agent in which that had immobilized your body is beginning to wear off. You're not completely free of its effects, but you are able to kind of somewhat talk in this time. Let me ask you, in this time that like Cole has experienced this car ride in general, what's running through his head? What's he feeling? What's going on?
I think that all of it can really be summed up in the first thing he says when he speaks, when he regains control of his body. and not obviously not full control, but like as things are starting to kind of wear off, and he's able to move his mouth for the first time in 20 minutes, as he looks across to Boromir and he says simply, "Why?"
Boromir kind of like he cannot meet you in the eye. He's refusing to look you in the eye, and he kind of shakes his hands and he says, "You wouldn't understand, Cole. You wouldn't understand."
"Try me."
And he kind of like pauses for a moment and he says, Aemir didn't leave me. They told me to tell you that so that you'd feel bad for me. But they have them. And you see them kind of like drop the bag and cover their face, and their hands are trembling, and they're like, it's all my fault, Cole. I shouldn't have. It's all my fault.
Ooh.
And you see he kind of like looks up and he opens his mouth to speak when the locker room door busts open, and walking in with an entourage of about 8 people wearing shades, Jamie Foster walks into the locker room and kind of spreads his hands apart, and he says, "Man, isn't it always just a great feeling to come back to school?"
I think that Cole is still like very stiff, very numb, very hard to move. So he's still like, he's not able to move his head up to look at Jamie Foster, but his eyes obviously move over to him. And again, every word that he says is very forced, very labored, very hard to, as he works his very numb feeling mouth. And so, keeps things very short as he's looking at this man. He just says, "You."
"Me." And you see he kind of like shuffles over and kind of like puts an arm around you, and kind of like hooks your head a little bit and brings you in close. And he says, "I'm looking for somebody, and you know where they are. And you're gonna tell me where Miss Merrill is. Or else." And we're gonna go ahead and cut there, go on our 10-minute break, and when we come back, we're gonna go to Ren. And we're gonna have ourselves some times. So,
no way.
For those of you who are still with us, we appreciate you sticking with us for this time. We hope that you've enjoyed the story so far. It can definitely be a little heavy. We tried to sneak some bits of humor in there, but sad is going to be sad. But we appreciate you sticking with us. We're going to take our 10-minute break, grab some snacks, use the facilities, walk around, stretch your legs, unclench your jaw. Please join us for afterwards for our small snack check to kind of figure out what we had for our snacks tonight. Before we launch into this,
you'll see.
Before we launch into this very fun experience with Mars, been looking forward to it for a very long time. So we appreciate y'all, we love y'all, and we'll see y'all in 10 minutes. Deuces.
Bye-bye. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do session 3 of this, wrap up this mystery, and then before the finale, we'll take a week off because that is my anniversary week.
So, funny story, Zeldathon's the next week.
No shit, really?
It's July 6th. So it is July 6th through.
Right.
I'll be there through the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a Tuesday in there, so that is if I get to go. Like as of right now, it's still in the air.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so it starts on the 6th?
It does. It starts on the 6th, which means I'll be there on the 5th.
Gotcha. Do. Eric is.
Oh, we're live right now.
We are.
Oh.
We are. We jumped back.
Yeah, well, Saul's checking that. Welcome to the we need like a snack check theme song, I think.
We'll write our own.
Check.
Yeah.
Snack check.
Welcome to the Snack Check podcast.
Welcome to the Snack Check podcast.
You motherfuckers are ready for the Snack Check podcast with your special guests. Dustin, the Bone Crusher, Mars, the Soul Reaper, Masha, the and
keep
Saul,
going. No, keep going.
the cool one.
Give Masha some thinking.
And it's me, Chris. I suck at life. Get ready to. I hope your tummies are empty and are ready to be filled with the Snack Check podcast. Roll for initiative.
We need to clip that. Like really bad. The comedic timing of like, and Masha.
I'm sorry, Masha. Masha's.
No, I don't need it.
Oh, okay. I feel like I need to though. Masha, Master of Fates.
Okay.
Cool.
And quesadillas.
The muncher of materials.
Nope. Muncher's not a good word.
Really? Why?
Can you explain?
No.
Elaborate further on that.
And can you
No.
have like a medical diagram?
No.
No.
It's just a diagram that says no.
That's really good. Yeah. Anyway, this is the Snack Check podcast. I should probably go looking for a song or something. What's this? This is kind of, I don't know. Anyway.
I have thought about with the idea of like doing like an intro for the Snack Check podcast.
But I just did one.
No, I meant like a themed intro, like we like as if it were like, you know,
We'll just
a
use that.
little segment and stuff like that. Chris's segment.
Yeah, just use that. That was it. We did it.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm doing popcorn spicy queso edition.
Is it
It's honestly kind of, I think, a crime to call these spicy. This is like literally nothing. This is like if some child came up and poked my tongue with their fingernail. That's how I would describe the spice.
I hope that child
That's a
washed
weird way
their
to
hands.
describe
Yeah.
spice, but okay.
Agreed.
Considering children do not wash their hands, I feel like that would probably be spicy. You know what I mean?
Ew.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like someone like, it's just like a little, it's like not even a prick. It's like just something mildly sharp has touched my tongue, and that's entirely it. Whereas something very spicy, like a bunch of very sharp objects in my mouth.
I love this way of describing spice.
Yeah. Anyway, so I have that. And I also got these salted chocolate caramels if I need something sweet, but I don't think I'm going to because I'm a little pig boy. Anyway, moving on.
I also have popcorn. Mine is movie popcorn, so it's not like I'm ready to partake in popcorn while watching the drama unfold in just a moment.
Microwave popcorn or
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a banana muffin with chocolate chips in it that my sister-in-law made, along with some lemon flavored yogurt.
Hi, Des.
Yeah.
Des!
It is.
Hello, friend.
Snack check, I made in my Instant Pot like enchilada pulled chicken, and then I turned that into a quesadilla with a bunch of cheese, and then I also made like a corn salsa, and that's got jalapenos and tomatoes and onions and stuff in it. And so I'm having that, and I'm dipping it in sour cream and Cholula, and it's baller. Getting my protein in.
I had an ice cream sandwich with little chocolate chips inside and water. My water bottle's fun though. Water bottle reveal.
Hell yeah, I love the stickers.
I've got a sticker of my OCs on it and I'm very proud of it.
No way.
Oh,
Water
yeah.
bottle
That's
reveal.
dope.
That's normally a Kofi exclusive.
You're a Kofi exclusive.
Yeah, all Chris content can only be accessed through the Ko-fi.
Yeah, there's actually we have Turntables DLC, and if you want the extended Chris edition, where I voice all the characters, you gotta download that through the Ko-fi.
If you want to teach Chris the meaning of spies, consider donating to the Ko-fi. Dope. Cool. Fun. That was a good Snack Check podcast. Very prompt. For those of you who are joining us for the first time and haven't joined us for a Snack Check before, consider joining our Discord. If someone with one of my fellow friends will put !socials or social in chat, one of the links in there, yes, thank you, should be the Discord link. In there, we have a channel called the Snack Check, or just Snack Check in general, and we encourage people to post the delicious foods that they eat / make in there. So that we're all in a perpetual state of envy and hunger. And it's a good time. And cool. I think we're going to go ahead and transition back. Chris, Maestro, if you would please hit that track that I sent you a little bit earlier today. Ren.
Cautious. Oh, no, you're good. Never mind.
I'm back. I missed everything that happened in the last 30 seconds, though.
The music just started. You're good.
Ren, the last thing you remember is reaching out of the window towards Cole and Fig before the searing blast of heat wiped everything into a white slate. A few moments pass, and it's quiet before you begin to feel the breeze slightly hit your face. It's cool, it's really pleasant, and there's like a smell that scratches at your memory, even though you can't quite place it at the moment. And the white begins to bleed away as a scene envelops in front of you. A beautiful purple gradient sky stretches above you, meeting with a blazing orange belt that just burns on the horizon constantly. You find yourself standing on the wooden deck of a large boat that's sitting in a river. And to all sides of you, on either side of the river, you see vast purple dunes of sand just kind of blowing peacefully in the wind. And it's so strange to suddenly be here from where you were, but there is a sense of kind of like a small sense of peace, almost, in the sense that like I've just went somewhere and I'm no longer where I was. This is new and I have to accept it, you know? And so like it's kind of like that first night in a new place, in the sense that like, you know, this is just kind of where I am right now, and it's scary, but there's also something very comforting about the fact that there is no going back to the way things were. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Like, what's Ren going through in this moment?
I think Ren's first concern is Fig and Cole, and if they made it, I think their mind immediately goes to their friends who were there, and just this trust. I think that Cole and Fig made it out of there. I think they think about this situation, and they feel like just a weight has lifted. They trust that they got Fig out. They trust that Cole got her to safety. They trust that everything is going to be all right for them. And I think this weight of just responsibility and having to be the experience, like having to be someone who's experienced and someone who is constantly devoting themselves to other people has kind of lifted, and they experience this moment of like, I'm here and I'm the only one here, and this is a time for me, and I can just take a moment to be me and be myself, and I don't have to perform for anyone. I don't have to do anything other than just be myself, and I'm here, and this weight of responsibility has been lifted from their shoulders.
Yeah. It is a freeing thing to have this weight lifted off your shoulders. And, you know, there's not much that you can do on the deck of this ship except just kind of look around. And you can see that the river that you're on stretches long. You know, it goes a very long way, but you can see that there is some kind of structure at the end, some kind of destination that the boat will eventually take you to. You stare up at the sky and you see small pinpricks of light. They look like stars. And then you watch one fall. It streaks down from the sky, and, you know, even though it's coming, it looks like it's, you know, it's similar to on Earth in the sense that when shootings or when meteors or meteorites fall through the sky, they fall, you know, and they leave a streak. They have the trail behind them. But in this one, it looks almost as though all these different shooting stars that are falling are all centered towards the river, and these stars streak down in these straight lines, and you watch them fall in the river, and where they fall, boats appear, each with their own single person, and you watch as they dip into the river, the water splashing on the sides, their sails fill with wind as they begin to proceed down the river towards that destination at the end. Something tells you that that's what happened to you too. Except there is no wind in your sail. And the boat is not moving. What do you do?
I think Ren just sits on the deck of this boat. I think they, for what feels like the first time in their life, and certainly the first time in a long time, they're not in a rush to get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They just sit, and I think they think about their friends. I think they think about how Philip is doing, and I think they think about, you know, funny memories they've had with Philip, and I think they think about Fagin Cole being able to get out of there safely, and I think they think about Arthur and their shared space in the motel room, and I think they're not in a rush to get anywhere. They are free of responsibility. They're just going to take things as they are.
When you think about Arthur, something scratches at your memory, and immediately we're all thrown back into a scene at the ranger station that had happened earlier in the day before the events of the first session had taken place, when Ren is helping Arthur up the stairs and into the guest bedroom where he was going to kind of heal and stay as everyone was relocating to the new HQ. You remember Ren kind of like helping Arthur up the last step and opening the door and kind of guiding him over to the bed. He winces slightly as he kind of sits down and, you know, gets comfortable on the bed, and you move his sword to the side to a table nearby, and his kind of the bag that he's always carried that has all his belongings in it to the side. And for the moment, it's just the two of you in this room. There's been a lot of movement, a lot of things happening in the past couple of days, and in this quiet moment, I think Arthur sighs, and he looks at Ren and he says, "Quiet's kind of nice, isn't it?"
It's nice. I like sitting in quiet with you.
Me too. But about you. Listen, Ren, what... I know it's kind of strange to ask now of all times, but seeing as Philip did nearly burn me alive, I just kind of figured I'd ask. What... If there is an after, what do you want to do after?
And I think Ren looks at Arthur and just says, I think I just want to rest. I think I want to... I mean, don't rush there or anything, but, you know, I think I want to rest with you, and we can just hang out. And I want to stay. I want to read books. I want to take naps in the middle of the day. I want to put down the sword, because it can't always be fighting forever.
You see Arthur kind of like nods a little bit, and you see his eyes are kind of like somewhat scanning, but a small smile kind of forms on his lips, and he kind of nods and he says, I think it would be really nice to rest with you too. A part of me is really tired of fighting. And I think there's a lot that I've learned being here with the group and in Fogwell, and to me, all I know is that whatever happens afterward, I'd like it to be with you.
And I think Ren rests their head on Arthur's like chest or shoulder.
He kind of like as you kind of like rest your head on his shoulder, he kind of shifts a little bit so that his bandages aren't like scraping your face or anything of that nature, and you're getting like a good prime real estate. And he kind of he kisses you on the head, I think, and he whispers to you, I don't doubt any day now the next thing's gonna come, and I'm not really in the place to watch your back like I can, like I've done. So just watch yourself, okay? Come back to me,
I'll
please.
stay safe. Of course.
And, you know, the afternoon light kind of drifts through the blinds, and the room's dusty because it hasn't been taken care of in a long time. But in that moment, in that small room within the ranger station, the two of you have a moment of quiet, a moment together. And it's nice. It's a different kind of peace than you're feeling right now. And we're gonna leave Ren sitting on the boat thinking about their friends and this situation, as we come back to a hopefully similar peaceful vibe, as we return to the Dream Blunt rotation, sitting all in the lotus position, surrounded by this mystical smoke that Miss Merrill has emanated, and you're all sitting in the lotus position, and I think Miss Merrill is kind of like the first to speak within this kind of like space, and she's like, "All right, Philip. Now it's time for you to look inward and just take us to where the voices are."
I think Philip is like, well, look at me. I mean, do we really want to? Do we really need to? It's not that great this time of year.
Atticus kind of speaks up and he says, "You have to understand, Philip. Magic in general is the way that we exert our will on the world, and if your internal balance, your internal quiet is out of whack..."
There's that one again. Don't like that one.
That's why I changed it. Your internal state, if it's out of whack, so will your magic. So we've got to center you. We've got to find some... He kind of leans to Miss Merrill. He's like, "What's another word for balance?" And she's like, "Equilibrium." I'm like, "Thank you. Equilibrium."
I know Philip said at the beginning he trusts these two implicitly, but I think there is a part of him that's just sort of... I think there is a little bit of because they're sort of treading on sacred ground, I think, in Philip's eyes. And so I do think he like sort of cocks his head a bit as like his green pupils like start dilating and enlarging a bit, as he sort of contemplates a little bit of a scared, upset, negative emotions.
Right. Let me ask you. Okay, well, I mean, do you want? Does Philip communicate that? Like, how does he? You know.
I think Philip is like, okay, but are you entirely sure this is what you want to be doing?
I think Miss Merrill kind of stops for a moment and says, "Philip, if we all wanted to be doing what we were wanting to be doing right now, I'd be sitting in my apartment, drinking some tea, smoking just the fattest blunt, and watching Junior Bake Off. But I'm here now, and at least we still have the Fat J. So a win's a win."
So you just want me to... What? Like, what do you want me to do here? You want me to...
When do the voices
Open my head? Huh?
When do the voices usually come?
Oh, it's sort of a non-stop, never off kind of thing.
Okay, but you, what, try and push it away or ignore it?
Yeah, I just sort of not think about them. They get pretty loud when there's a dead body around.
And you see she kind of like taps her cane, and Atticus Campbell kind of like looks up at her with his little raccoon face and kind of shuffles a little bit to the side. And she's like, well, you're still saying that they're still there anyhow, so
Yeah.
just listen.
Okay. Cool. And I guess Philip summons the voices. Well, he's not summons. I guess he just sits and listens. I do have these sound effects.
So are these happening just in Philip's head, or is he kind of like, is he beginning to speak in those tongues as well? Like what does this look like as Philip is kind of like breaking down that dam?
Yeah, I think Philip does sort of, his eyes go completely dark as he sort of opens up to these voices.
Keep going.
Yeah. No, I think no, yeah. I think he opens up to those wacky voices in his brain.
I think as the voices begin to kind of press into the inner recesses of your skull, both you see Atticus kind of like temple his fingers together, and Miss Merrill kind of clutches her cane and bows forward slightly, and this kind of like out of body sensation begins to pulls you, Miss Merrill, and Atticus kind of out of their bodies, and you now actually see Atticus Campbell in his human form, kind of like in this astral projection, this very tall, like older man wearing, a tuxedo, has a top hat, has this kind of like very kind of like stage party magician vibe going for him. And the you see Miss Merrill, still very much looking like herself, all kind of like pulled within this astral state, and you, however, you kind of like look at yourself and your body is in like flux. It looks like every moment or so you raise up your bony fingers and like it kind of like statics out, and you can see in the process of being pulled out of these two bodies, you're kind of like hovering within this inner vortex of smoke, and you see that there is you see that you floated like maybe like 20-30 feet off the ground. You can see your bodies are still sitting in the lotus position on the ground below you, but Miss Merrill kind of like you see them both kind of like their hands raise up to their ears as they begin to hear these voices as well, as you are kind of like staticking out and kind of like in flux in general, your astral state. And she kind of shrugs there for a moment. She like stops there for a moment, and she's like, wait, is that Anglo-Saxon? No, wait. No, it's Anglican for sure. And you see Atticus Campbell kind of like he kind of like strokes his face, and he says, I'm pretty sure that's Latin. Wait.
I like to think of it more as dark voices.
Philip, you said that there were voices, but there are multiple voices in this cacophony.
Yeah, that's kind of the point.
And you see they kind of like they once again, you for sure see Atticus Campbell kind of closes his eyes, and they begin to come somewhat like refocus. And Miss Merrill kind of like raises up a bony finger. She's like, Philip, tell me about Pompeii.
What are you talking about? That's crazy. That's crazy talk what you're talking about.
You had a vision about Pompeii. Tell me about that.
That's funny. You're funny. You're making me laugh. No. It's just, it's a lovely town. Not much going on, not much real estate.
Tell me what's going through Philip's mind as she's coaxing out this information.
I think sorry, I'll turn off the reverb. I think in this moment, images start appearing in Philip's mind. Like he's trying not to think about it, but his mind does go flashes to his images of living a life in this town that he doesn't want to think about, as he watches he is in this town and is trying to find someone in his final moments.
As these memories flash, you watch a grin appear in Miss Merrill's face, and you see Atticus Campbell's eyes widen, and he kind of turns to look at Miss Merrill's form, and Miss Merrill nods, and he says, "Did you see that?" Or I'm sorry, "Did you see that?" And Miss Merrill just kind of nods, and she's like, "Philip, whatever you're remembering right now, I need you to dig deeper, and I need you to just keep that in the forefront of your memory. What are you looking for? Who are you looking for?"
And I think, this image of this man in a toga and like swept back, dark red ginger hair, as he, and, somewhat of a tan as he's like running through the streets as smoke starts billowing. And I think this form of Philip, as it sort of glitches in and out of this state, just sort of stares down and says to himself, "I don't know. I wanted to save. I thought I could save people. This time specifically was so long ago, and I don't fully remember all the details, but I think I was with someone. I don't know. I loved them, and I wanted to, and I thought maybe I could save at least that one person. But I didn't, there wasn't enough time."
Tell us your name.
My name is Philip.
Tell us your name in the memory.
Philip is Corbett.
And as soon as you say that, your form shifts, and a figure kind of like rips out of your astral form and stands next to you. And floating beside you is this tall, toga-clad, swept-back hair figure, just kind of like they're basically mimicking your hands, and like they are, as you kind of gesture, they gesture, and things of that nature, and they just kind of like hover there in the space. Philippus is not flickering. However, you still are.
I think Philip looks back at them, sort of like it's. I think Philip looks back to the other two. He sort of stares knowingly to Philippus, like, "Yeah, I expected you." And he looks back to them and just sort of solemnly like, "It only gets worse."
Don't threaten me with a good time, sweetheart. Let's move on, shall we?
Oh, okay. I get okay.
And we are going to go ahead and pull out from the Fogwell, and we are going to transition to Cole. Hello, friend.
Hi, everything happy going here too?
Hope you're doing well.
Oh yeah, doing great.
For sure, for sure. I will say, go ahead and mark 2 harm.
Yeah, okay, sure.
As when
Why? What happened?
When we return, we find you pinned up to the wall of the locker room by 2 members of the Pratts that Jamie Foster has brought with him, as a fist buries itself into your stomach and you cough up a little blood, and you look up and your cheek is bruised, your nose is bloody, as Jamie Foster retracts his fist. This kind of like entourage around him just surrounding you in the locker room, and he pulls the fist back and he says, "Listen, Cole, I didn't want to bring up these awful memories from high school, but you gotta tell me where Miss Merrill is. I need to know where she is, and I know you know because you're you, and I know that you hang out with her. You got friends that hang out with her. And I need to know where she is. So again, I'm gonna ask nicely, where is Miss Merrill?"
So at this point, I'm guessing that Cole has unfortunately regained feeling in his body.
Correct. Your hands are still bound behind your back, but
yeah,
I would say the effects of the numbing agent have passed.
Okay. I think that Cole is just look like his shoulders sag a little bit against the thing, and he goes, "Okay, I'll tell you. Up your ass."
And he goes and he looks over at his entourage. They all are blank stares. They don't really seem to have human emotions at this moment in time. But he snaps his fingers and 2 of them come up and they just bam, bam, bam. They clock your jaw. They punch you in the kidney. Like they are like wailing on your body as you're being held down. You're going to go ahead and take another 2 harm. As you sit there and are just like wailed on, and you can see that Boromir is kind of like in the back, and he's still sitting on the bench, and his hands are like clenched tight together, and he get like his hands raised up as if he's agitated, and he gets up and he just kind of pushes through, and he grabs Jamie by the shoulder and he was like, you said you weren't gonna hurt him. You said you weren't gonna hurt him. You were just gonna talk to him, man. I forgot about Boromir's voice there for a second. You said you were just gonna talk to him, man. And Jamie kind of like shoves him off, and 2 of the Pratt members kind of like again push him onto the ground, and Jamie snaps a finger and he kind of looks down at Boromir and he says, "You know the deal, okay? We haven't gotten the information yet, so you don't get your little friend back, okay? Now, you're gonna shut up, you're gonna sit there, and when we get the information, some of the boys will take you where we have them, okay? Now shut the fuck up." And Boromir kind of like on the ground is like just fucking shell-shocked and just kind of like torn between doing something and just this other fear in his brain. And Cole, you've taken this much more damage. Tell me what's going through your mind right now? Like, what are you trying to think of a way out? Like, what are the thoughts running through your head? Thoughts, feelings, that kind of stuff. Like, what are you? What's the plan?
So Cole is unstable now. It's a good question on what he would try to do, because there are two different ways that he could go about this at the moment. Because number one, obviously, not being punched would be phenomenal. I think he would enjoy not being tortured in locker room.
Right.
So that would be great. But he also now knows that this guy has Aomir, which means that if he does escape, bad things could happen to Aomir. I'm sorry, my brain has immediately deleted certain parts of information. Did you say that these guys? I know you said that they've got the glossed over look. Can Cole see their
AirPods? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Though you cannot see one on Jamie Foster.
Fair enough. Let's see. So Cole does have a different weapon type, but I don't know if he's able to fight off this many people at once.
Throws the Molotov cocktail in the group of people.
Okay, that's not actually the one I meant. Cole is actually martial arts training. Has martial arts training.
Right.
He actually can just kick somebody in the head. It works. But
did Jamie take his Molotov cocktail?
It's a good question. But the first thing that I want to do is use a move. We've had one alternate weird move with
no limits.
With no limits. I would like to use my alternate weird move, Trust Your Gut.
Okay.
Because again, at the moment, Cole has a few different options, and I would like to see what happens. So I'm going to roll plus weird, and then we'll figure out where we go from there. And I'll explain what Trust Your Gut is for the audience after I roll.
Yeah, sounds good.
Well, that's boxcars.
Nice.
So that's 12 plus 2 is 14. With Trust Your Gut, when you consult your instincts about what to do next, roll plus weird. On 10 or more, the keeper will tell you where you should go. Wherever it is, it will be important. And you get a +1 ongoing while you are following this lead, which will be very nice in hopefully not dying in the locker room of a place that Cole's absolutely been beat up before.
Trust your gut. Where to go next? Obviously, away from here. I think in your mind, there are currently two pressing things that you could investigate further, and whichever path you decide to take, we can go ahead and say you'll have that +1 moving forward. But the two that are present in your mind are as follows. One, the giant explosion back at the square, and like what happened to your friends. Are they okay? Why this happened, all this kind of stuff. Like that thread has not left your mind this entire time. The second part is knowing that Jamie Foster is gunning for Miss Merrill. You do know where she is located. You have not given it up. However, Jamie Foster has at his disposal the Pratts, and whoever the Pratts have possibly recruited in the spans of these past couple of weeks / months. This is a group of possibly 20, 30, 40 or more people who are all at his beck and call. It is a mob, and he can point it in whatever direction he likes. So there are several threats present, and I'll definitely say again, because you rolled boxcars, your analytical mind immediately thinks I should probably not go back to the Ranger HQ because somebody could see me and they would have me followed.
Right. And yeah, and there's at least one hurt friend there.
Correct.
Okay. How many of the Prads are in here with
8. So it's 8, and then Jamie Foster, Boromir, and yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're thinking about this kind of situation, and I want to ask you a question, and I want you to be truthful with me in this moment in time, friend. Okay. At any point in this time, whether it's been from when you got kidnapped by Boromir or when they started kind of wailing on you in this locker room, at any point, did Cole get mad? Feel upset, maybe frustrated?
I think that when he got kidnapped, it was not anger; it was confusion and worry for his friends. So not really anger there, but I mean, it's pretty hard to get pinned against a locker and punched multiple times and not get angry.
Absolutely, that is definitely fair. With that in mind, in this moment, while you see like Jamie manhandling Boromir to the ground,
I think that is actually the trigger. I think watching him hurt Boromir, even though Boromir obviously did some crazy stuff, Cole can take punches. He's been bullied before, whatever. He can do it and make jokes and push through it. But when he sees someone else getting hurt, I think that really makes him angry. So I think that like up until this point, he's like been annoyed, but now he's actually getting angry watching Jamie Foster shove Boromir out. So
right on. I'm going to ask you to roll me an act under pressure to fight off the effects of the seethe as your passion and your anger flares in this moment in time.
Would just another day work here?
Can you remind me what just another day does?
When you have to act under pressure due to a monster, phenomenon, or mystical effect, you roll plus weird instead of plus cool.
Yes, I'll say you can use just another day for this.
Okay, but it is still at a -1, correct? For fighting the anger.
I think originally, so audience, and this is in reference to a mechanic that I kind of spoke with to the rest of the group. However, that was specifically to like charm stuff.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
In hindsight, it probably makes more sense to do it against the anger, but that could be something cool for the finale. So we'll just say you can just roll plus weird with this without a negative to it.
Okay, cool. Then that will be a 5 plus 2, 7. So there you go,
a mixed
my
success.
Friend. A mixed success.
On a mixed success against act under pressure, Keeper gives you a worse outcome, hard choice, or a price to pay. I think hard choice or price to pay. Here's
Hey, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What if narratively I decide that it's better if Cole fails this?
Oh, okay.
Like I don't need the experience, but like I feel like him giving into the anger here is absolutely narratively it would make sense at this point. So would that make your decision easier?
Yeah, honestly, because the mixed success for act under pressure. I'm sure I could have come up with something, but yes, you failing.
I'm sure you could.
Yeah,
I'm sure you could too. But yeah, let's do it. Let's like we'll count it as a mixed success. So I won't mark experience, but because I'm choosing to.
For sure.
Give into the rage.
So Cole, you feel the burning anger starting in your chest and just burning through the rest of your body. Your hands are still bound behind your back, but in this moment in time, all you want to do is hurt these people, and you want to hurt them in the most like disgustingly unnecessary way to do so. Just over the top, like unrestrained kind of. And you now, as much differently than when you were younger, you are much more equipped to do this, to hurt these people. And I would like to think that Cole probably prides himself in his ability to self-defend himself now, but he's never outwardly been aggressive with the fact or tried to find fights or anything of that nature. It's always been in response to violence or in response to aggression, and in this moment it feels good to be the instigator, to be the one that does that. So go ahead and tell me what happens when you flare in and you feel the anger take hold of you.
So currently Cole's hands are tied behind his back.
Correct.
Two of the Pratt members have hold of his arms and are pinning him against the lockers.
Correct.
How close is Jamie Fumster?
I'd say Jamie's definitely within 3 feet of you. Like they've all kind of they had kind of crowded around you, and they somewhat dispersed a little bit to push Boromir and things of that nature. But if you were to, let's say, lift your feet up and kick, he's definitely within that range.
Yeah, let's say that somebody was going to do exactly that among a couple of other things. I'm going to do exactly that, and one other thing. I think that the first thing he's going to do is that, followed by a quick headbutt to one of the people holding his arms to try and free himself so he can pivot and start actually fighting back. Now, I think he's done playing along and trying to be the peacekeeper or whatever. It's time for people to bleed besides him.
Excellent. I love that. Go ahead and roll me, kick some ass, and give yourself a +1 for it.
Okay. Here we go. Okay, so not quite, but so that is a 6 and a 5, which is an 11. Plus my one tough, plus the one that you gave me. So that's going to be a 13. Lucky number 13.
Excellent. On a 10 plus, you choose one extra effect. You gain the advantage, take +1 forward, or give 1 +4 to another hunter. You inflict terrible harm, you suffer less harm, or you force them where you want them.
I mean, we know,
Yeah, I mean, you're right. If we're going to go by the effects of the rage, you inflict terrible harm.
Yeah. That's what we're gonna get. It just makes sense to do that. So yeah, we're gonna inflict some terrible harm.
Hell yeah. Tell me what this looks like.
So I think that for a moment, Cole just stares down at Boromir as this righteous rage just boils up in him. He thinks back to all the times that he's been bullied and how even when he would do things that people would be like, hey, if you do this, it'll make you cool, he would still be targeted as a target for bullying. So seeing this, I think he kind of sees himself in Boromir on the ground, having done something really stupid, and Cole feels anger toward him now as well. But I think that Cole just stares there for a moment, and then finally he says, hey, and as soon as Jamie turns to look at him, a train goes by. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. It's time.
Teddy bursts through the window.
Yeah, no, it's Teddy time. I think that Cole uses the. I'm just gonna let it go by for a second. It's gonna go one more time. Are we done? Oh,
That's right. It's good. They gotta get it out. You know, they gotta let it out.
yeah, gotta give it. Okay, I think we're good now. Okay, so I think that he uses the two that are kind of holding him there as a brace to be able to lift both legs up and kangaroo kick basically the Jamie Foster without risking actually falling. Then he'll land, turn, and just smash his head into the guy on his right.
Excellent.
Like right into the guy's nose.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Jamie Foster falls back. He bumps into two of the other Pratts, and they kind of like they go head over or heels over head as they crash through one of the benches in the locker room. You turn and you smash your head into this guy's nose, and you watch the nose go concave into the skull. As the guy kind of like falls back and immediately goes to like go to his gushing nose as he kind of like falls back and like falls to like on his ass. You feel the other two guys or two members to your side kind of come up to you on the sides, and I'll say in this moment the rage with the adrenaline pumping and stuff like that, like you feel their hits, but you only take one harm from them.
Okay, well, which is cool because I have a move for
You do.
which prepare to defend. Whenever you suffer harm, when you kick some ass or protect someone, you suffer one less. So Cole just kind of ignores.
Correct.
that.
You ignore these hits in this kind of like rage form, and I'll need you to roll another roll for kick some ass for these two individuals who have kind of come up to your rear.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're actually seeing some Cole martial arts for once. As well, I'm gonna roll and then we'll see what we get from there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that one isn't quite as good. I still have the +1. This is important.
Mm-hmm.
I do like from the +1 from.
Oh, from the first one.
Yeah, you said you gave me first one. Yes or
Yes,
no?
I will say you still have this +1.
And that is going to be a 10. So
Okay, cool.
I mean, we know what's going to happen. He's going to inflict more terrible harm on these brainwashed, innocent people.
So you're not gonna stop yourself. So why should we? So tell me what this looks like as you turn around to face these two who have come up behind you.
Question for the keeper.
Yes.
Cole is. I mean, last season he was a mundane.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a dude.
Right.
How tight are these ropes?
These ropes, I mean, they are pretty tight. I would say, yeah, I don't think that Boromir took any chances with like how loose they would be in general. If you want to try and do the thing where you like jump and like tuck your legs in and like kind of like go, bring them to the front of you, I'll say like in your current state, you could definitely do that, but your hands would still be bound.
Okay, that's actually yes. That was my idea, is to do that and then just.
Yeah, we are choreographing this locker room scene as if it's John Wick 5, so you can definitely,
Cool.
bring it to your chest.
Cool. All right, we're gonna do that, and then he's gonna swing his arms like hammer, and smash a dude in the head, and then drive them into another guy's gut.
Love that. You smash this guy on the head, and he is close enough to like one of the rounded corners of this locker room that like his head just bounces off the tiled wall and like just immediately slumps to the ground, a small streak of red on the wall on the white tile, and you bury your fists into the stomach of this other guy. The wind is like kicked out of him, and you're like you can hear the exhale as he just kind of like his diaphragm crumples and he kind of like bends backward, trying to catch his breath. There is a moment, right, where you are not surrounded by anybody. In this moment, as you retract your fists and this guy crumples backwards, there is a clear line of sight to the door of this locker room. And you know the high school well enough that if you bust through this locker room, you could get out. The three members who are still up, who aren't like recuperating or wounded, or who aren't recovering from the fall / are wounded, are still up, or we're all surrounding Boromir. And in this moment, it's like two paths ahead of you. One, this door out of the high school, and the other one is right behind you to these last three standing dudes who are around Boromir. What are you choosing?
Just picturing it like it's one of those choose your own adventure. I'm just trying to think. All under the effects of this rage. What would he do? Like, what makes the most sense? Would he leave, or would he smash more? Phrasing, but sure, smash more dudes. And I think he's going to smash the dudes. I think that he's going to go around towards those three and just try to obliterate them as well.
Gotcha. Absolutely. Again, this is happening in bullet time. So you make the decision and you turn, and they're already making their way towards you. So I'm gonna have you roll another kick some ass with that +1. As you carve your way through them. Let's see what you get.
8 plus. Okay, yeah, I can add, you guys. I get the 2, which is an 8 plus my 1 top 9, so another 10.
Excellent. So again, inflict terrible harm.
Yeah, he's murdering people today. I guess.
Tell me, the first two kind of like come up to you first. What are you doing to these guys as they're kind of flanking you on either side?
I think that he's going to punch one like with his fist, like right in the nose, and the other he's going to shoulder attack him.
He's gonna shoulder attack him.
He's gonna drive his shoulder into the man's gut and slam him into the wall.
Nice, cool. So you smash this guy in the face with your fists. Again, you clearly feel the break of the nose as you kind of like smash into this guy's face. He falls backward. You can clearly see his nose is like has been shoved and like twisted to the side from your strike. You bury your shoulder into this guy. You slam into the wall. You can feel, definitely with like the momentum that you're carrying, you feel a rib snap as you smash this guy into the wall. You both, however, from the momentum, you kind of like trip onto the floor, and you go down onto one knee, and you see the third guy coming, and you immediately see a leg kind of stick out, and he trips and falls onto the ground as he's running towards you. As you see that Boromir has stuck a leg out to trip this individual. However, the guy's still moving with enough momentum that the two of you get tangled onto the floor together. What are you doing to take out this guy?
He's on top.
You get on top? Okay.
I was asking who is on top.
You are. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Then we're gonna do that, and then how are his hands tied? How are Cole's hands tied? Like at the wrist, or?
Yeah, at the wrist.
Okay, perfect. And like that, so his fingers are free, and he's gonna grab this guy by the hair and just start slamming his head against the floor.
Nice. Yeah, you
like. I want this to feel as brutal and visceral as possible, because Cole has never shown this sort of thing, and I feel like this is kind of a good display of what this rage does to people.
Absolutely.
What the seed does to people.
I think, yeah, you at a certain point when you are bashing this guy's head onto the tile, you didn't realize you were yelling, but you realize it now as you're just kind of like slamming this red wet spot just growing and growing underneath this guy's head, and you feel two hands kind of grasp at your arm, attempting to stop you, and you turn and you look and you see Boromir staring at you, and I'm gonna need you to roll me and act under pressure to not attack Boromir.
Okay, here we go. Yep. Am I able to use that move from before this time too?
The phenomena thing for the weird. Yeah, I'll say yeah.
Okay, better than the last one. That's a 9. It's a big 9er.
With the 9.
Yeah, which is a mixed success.
This is your something about Boromir's stare shocks you out of the rage, but not before you, just like from pure angry instinct, your hands let go of this man's head and they slam into Boromir's cheek, and he goes kind of like flying backward, and you see there's just like this giant bruise on his cheek, beginning to welt and form as he falls back onto his back, staring at you. And that is when the anger kind of like leaks slowly out of your body, and you regain control of like yourself.
Yeah, I think that whole time, as well as screaming, Cole was crying. I feel like, something inside of him knew that this was not what he wanted to be when he was a kid. This isn't the reason he learned to fight. This is not the reason that he wanted to. This is not what he wanted to become. And I think that tears are even welling even more at this point as he looks over to Boromir and then looks around at the carnage that he's wrought in this place. And I think Cole throws up. I think that the guilt and stress of everything just finally, now that the adrenaline of the seed has kind of started to wear down, he's realized what he's done. I think he vomits. I think that it's just that sort of stuff. And yeah.
In this moment, you see the two, like when you had kicked Jamie and like he had knocked back with those two other guys, they've all now stood up fully, and you see Jamie like watches you throw up, and there's a split second where he looks like he's about to send the last two guys at you while you're kind of like in this small vulnerable state, when his phone vibrates and you see him reach into his pocket, answer a call, and just bring it up to his ear and listen, and he cuts it off, and he looks at the two guys and he says, "With me," and he walks out without a second glance at you or Boromir. And you see him walk out of the locker room, leaving you with these 6 individuals in various states of severe harm, and a shell-shocked Boromir, just like in general. And we are going to pull out, and we are going to come back in with Fig in the truck, leaving the town's premises, and heading into the forest. Fig, by the time you make it back to the ranger station, you have suffered another point of harm from the unstable. You are not looking great, and it is like you are deathly pale, and like little man is like the animal form of pacing, as he's just kind of like very anxious about your state, and like he keeps bopping his nose against your cheek and like trying to make sure that you are staying awake, essentially, as you are kind of like curled up in the corner of the sheriff's truck, and he's just like muttering to himself and muttering to you. He's like, "Stay with me, Fig. Don't go to sleep, okay? You're gonna be fine. What's your fucking favorite color? I don't fucking know. Just talk."
I don't know, green.
Green's good. Green's good. Do you? Well, what's your favorite thing to hunt?
I don't remember the last time I hunted for fun.
Okay. All right. Do you like any movies?
Oh, Sheriff. Why don't you talk and I'll listen?
Okay. Yeah. You know, I can talk. I can talk for sure. You know, but the important thing is that you gotta say things too. Okay. So, and he's just like this very anxious exchange as y'all are driving back to the ranger station. I think eventually y'all get there and he kind of helps you up. And I think he gets inside the ranger station, shoves the body of Daniel Foster off of the table because we never got rid of it.
No.
I think he shoves the dead body of Daniel Foster off the table. It thumps
That's not
onto the
sanitary.
floor. It like there was a tarp underneath and the tarp goes with it, but like he puts you on the table, and he's just kind of like, anybody help, anybody. You know, and so like you hear slow footsteps kind of coming down the stairs, and you see Arthur with like his bandaged body and stuff like that, and he like looks tussled up like he just woke up from a nap, and he's like, what's going on? And Sheriff just kind of like starts mumbling about fire and like Fig is wounded and all that kind of stuff. And I think like, you know, Arthur comes over and immediately is kind of like trying to help you. Very recently, Arthur took a move that does help with medicine stuff. So this is hopefully something that he'll be able to help with. However, as he comes over to the table, he's like, Fig, are you okay? Tell me, where does it hurt? And he kind of like...
Oh. Everywhere. It hurts. Even talking hurts. I don't feel so good.
Does it hurt to breathe?
It hurts to exist.
And I think he's like, he kind of like holds his hands out and he's like, can I examine you?
Gently?
And I think he very gently puts his hands on your ribs. Right. Okay. Yeah. And he kind of like feels around, and I think he finds the two specific spots where you wince the most. And his mind immediately kind of like begins thinking about different herbs and things of that nature that could possibly help. And then also just like how to kind of like try and set the ribs in a way that you are going to be able to at least move and function, at least try and get you back to stable, right? Rather than being unstable. I think that's the best that Arthur could do in this moment in time. And you, in your just like overwhelming amount of pain, I think Sheriff Lester kind of like digs into like the glove compartment of his car and finds 2 ibuprofen. And like, you know, I think they definitely give you that with a glass of water. You are kind of like flitting in and out of the pain. And I'll say, take a look at the move. I'm not going to have him roll for it because I'm the keeper. I don't have to do that. But the with traditional remedies, you can treat injuries without any need for modern medical supplies. Although you might need someone to hold the patient down, hence the Sheriff Lester. And
bite this belt.
And I'm going to go ahead and say that you are, for the time being, you are stabilized. And we'll say you heal 1 harm from that. So I believe you should be at 5 still.
I am, yes.
Though you are stabilized, which means that like unless you take another point of harm, you won't continue to add harm as you move forward. However, like this process in and of itself takes like maybe an hour or 2 of just kind of like gathering the materials and like getting you prepped and kind of like going through that process. And I think in the end, you're kind of lying there and you're breathing a lot easier than you were before. And I think Arthur has been kind of like, he's been by your side the entire time. Right now he's sitting on a chair, just kind of like, you know, hands clasped on his lap as you are kind of like breathing heavily. He's been kind of like watching your state just to make sure you don't dip or anything of that nature. and you can tell he has like this very kind of conflicted look in his eyes, as he kind of like gets up, he tucks his hair behind his ear, and he kind of comes over to the table and just kind of like leans over and he says, "Hey, you're awake. How are you feeling?"
Me? You're asking me? Dog shit, actually. Thank you for asking. I I'm a little better, but it still hurts to breathe and move. I don't know if Ren is alive.
I've been meaning to ask. Why aren't they with you?
There was an explosion at Miss Merrill's shop, and Ren was buried in the rubble. I haven't seen him. I was trying to dig him out, but Sheriff Lester saw that I was on death's door myself and brought me here.
And you see a myriad of emotions kind of cross across Arthur's face as you say this. And I think like a tear rolls down from his left eye and drops onto the table, and we're going to pull away from there, and we are going to go back to Ren. Philip, if you'll hit, or not Philip, Chris, my maestro, please, if you'll hit that music again. Ren, it has been kind of a long time. What does time seem like in this space? The sky hasn't changed, but lots of rafts and boats have passed you by, and you have gotten no closer to that space in the horizon. Do you still feel that same amount of peace?
I think Ren still feels that most of that piece. I think they're starting to get a little stressed about it, but I think a lot of their, as they were kind of going over those, a lot of the memories they've been thinking about for the past few hours, however long this has been, I think they've started just like quietly crying, and I think he's just sitting there. I think he's watching the boats pass and just sort of crying.
Your tears hit the deck, and you kind of tell me why Ren is crying. What is causing this reaction for them?
I think a lot of things are going through their mind right now, and I'm not even sure they know why they're crying, but I think this sense of like finality, or this sense that like things will never go back to how they were, is starting to get to them. I think they're seeing people move on by and remembering what it felt like after they came out of being Apophis, and learned about the internet and Googled their friends and family to learn that people had died, and the people they cared about had no, like, had thought they had died, years ago, and this feeling of everyone is moving on without me, and I'm stuck here. And I think that's getting to them. And I think they're also just a little bit overwhelmed by like the beauty of this nice setting. And they're just kind of moved by nature, and I think there's a lot going on in their brain right now, and it's just kind of coming out in these quiet tears as they sit on the deck of the boat.
I think so. You're just sitting on the deck of the boat crying. You're not moving around doing anything. You're just kind of taking it all in. Okay.
Yep.
I think there is. You watch one final shooting star kind of fall down, and before it hits the river, it freezes, and the wind freezes, and any kind of movement that you see, the water, sand shifting, all these kinds of things freeze. And you watch as a droplet of night sky coalesces and drips down from the sky onto the deck of your boat, and it like breaks, the sky reverts back to normal, and this droplet of night forms into the shape of a humanoid creature with no face, though within its body are stars in general, and so like the facsimile of a face kind of like molds itself from a constellation, and it kind of stares at you for a moment, and it says, "There is no need to cry. Your time is not yet up."
What do you mean?
We hope you enjoyed this momentary rest, but your time is not yet up. You recognize the voice. It is Ma'at.
I can't leave from here.
You will. Your mission is not yet completed.
You say that, and you never tell me what my mission is. What you're... And I think Ren is, like, tears are streaming faster down their face the minute Ma sort of showed up. And they say... I'm told to do these things for you, but you never tell me why. You never tell me what I'm doing. I don't... I thought I finally got a break.
You see the being kind of like cock their head to the side, and they said, "You chose the feather of truth. You chose to become the champion of order. Why do you shirk at your duties now?"
And I think Ren smiles, but it's like a very broken smile, and they say, I didn't... I had the choice to go back to not being myself, to being this... I never had a true choice. I just wanted... I just wanted to be normal. I just wanted to be a normal dude. I can't... That option was never given to me. Apophis took that option. You took that option. I'm realizing I don't know how to do this right. I don't know how to be a good champion. I don't know how to. I spend all my time putting my life on the line for other people, and I just want to rest.
You see, there's a momentary pause as the constellation kind of shifts back to kind of like that purple, inky void, before kind of like a different face-shaped constellation kind of takes its place, and their voice speaks out to you again, and they say, "You are the champion, and these are your duties, and they have been the duties of champions from before, and they will be duties of champions after. No one except time is infinite. Even chaos and order came from something. Chaos is the energy that moves the universe, and order are the laws that bind it in place. Your scientists call it physics. We have been around a lot longer than that word. You don't encompass all of order. You are an agent of balance, as it should be, as things are meant to be. Right now, that mountain threatens that balance. And whether you are the champion or not, I do not believe that you will leave that town to fall. But it is, if you choose not to be the champion, you will do so without the blessings of Ma'at. Do you understand?"
And you're giving me this choice now.
You say you do not want it. You tell us you are tired. We do not want a champion who will strain against the responsibility or kill themselves for it. We want a champion who wants to uphold their place in the universe. Someone who is willing to sacrifice themselves, their future, their path for order, for the greater good.
And I did that. I sacrificed myself. I saved Fig. I got her out. God, unless she's in one of these boats and I missed her,
Your friend is safe for the time being. But you are not done. The work is not done. There is no... And they kind of pause for a moment and they say, "We are offering you immortality, strength beyond that of mortal ken, magics long lost to this world, the ability to shift the needle of fate, to shift the scales. But with it comes the job. That is the price."
you describe this to me as if immortality is something I want. It's not. I want to grow old like the rest of my friends. I want to see them. I want to. I want to. When my time has come, I want to die. I don't want to be fighting forever and ever. I wasn't made to be a fighter. I'm just some guy.
You were never just some guy. Not to the people you saved. Not to the people that are alive because of you. And you see they kind of pause and they say, human life is fleeting. It will pass faster than sands in an hourglass. And if that is what you wish for that fleeting time, then make your choice. We will they kind of like or scratch that we will. They say this mountain will plunge the balance further into Isfet, further into chaos. And it will bring pain, and it will bring suffering. And no one's safety is guaranteed.
But at least I will have done something. I will have. If I die without your protection, without you saying, get back out there, champ. Without you, I will have died for something I find meaningful. I will have died for something. I will have paid the ultimate cost in order to push my goals further. But you're saying, right now, it feels like you're telling me that my the only thing that matters to you is my work, not who I am as a person, not my goals, not my ideals, not my sacrifices, just what I can do for you. And I can't be a cog in the machine forever. I can't just work for you. I'm more than that.
You see that, again, the constellation shuffles, and their head somewhat turns to, like, off the side of the boat, staring off at the dunes, for just like a second or two before it turns back to you, and it says, so you are saying that with or without the power of order, you would still try to save the town of Fogwell?
Yeah, I guess I am. Because I'm not gonna let a bunch of people die when I know there's something I can do about it.
And, like, over the time that you've known Ma'at, you know that they've been very kind of like detached from humanity in general, human emotion. They're just kind of like, they're a being that really kind of does see the world a little bit in black and white, and doesn't necessarily understand like the nuance of like everything in between, you know. And they, because everything in between is kind of like, it's chaos, you know. It's not perfectly, it's not balanced, it's not order. And so you see a kind of like the semblance of confusion go across their face, and they kind of like, they stretch a hand, and you see a gangplank appear off the side of the boat leading down to the sand dunes below. And they look at you and they say, "We will not accept your decision until you have fully understood the repercussions of this. We think that you will grow to regret this decision to rescind the power of order. We know you to be a passionate person who cares about the lives of others, and you want to be able to make a difference, and we are giving you the power to do so. And yet, the power is what makes you tired of doing this thing that you're so passionate of doing. We do not understand. But perhaps speaking with someone who knows deep regret will help you. And when you are done, you can tell us your decision then." And you see they kind of like, they melt into the wood of the ship. And on the gangplank, you notice that on a far off dune, there is a small fire kind of burning at its peak. It's like a straight shot off the gangplank through the dunes up to that campfire.
And Ren starts walking that way.
Your footsteps are soft, and it doesn't take you that much time. You can feel the sand shifting underneath your feet but as you walk, the landscape changes. And for a moment, you see just kind of like a stark white room, and you're walking on a set of stairs before the sun kind of like returns back, that purple sky, that narrow, like the small band of orange has dimmed down to like a very small narrow band. The sand shifts away, and you see kind of like a rocky, rather than a desert, it's more kind of like a rocky landscape with like thorn brush and some, some scraggly, rock trees and things of that nature. And you approach this campfire, and for the moment, it sits by itself in this kind of like, in this small little circular space where large like rock outcroppings kind of like come off the sides, and you look up and you can see that the Milky Way is stretching across the sky. It looks beautiful, it's a beautiful experience to see. And you kind of stare there for a moment, and you hear a voice, and it comes out from behind you, and it says, "Ren? What the heck are you doing here?" And you turn around, and behind you, you see a 442 locomotive sitting quietly in the night sky, and a man in a cowboy hat with a large gray mustache, kind of staring at you, climbing down from the train with a very strange, confused look on his face. And that's where we're going to call the session for tonight.
Hell yeah.
My boy, my man, my lad. Ayo.
I know what hat I'm gonna be wearing next.
Oh my god.
My heart is beating so fast right now. Yeah. Okay.
Can't believe that that Rin gets to meet Wyatt Earp.
The Colonel. Excellent. Great session, y'all. I know that we went a little bit over our normal time, but I appreciate everyone's patience. Let's go ahead and do end of session questions real fast before we break for the night. First of all, is everyone doing okay? We're good? Okay, dope. So first question, did we conclude the current mystery?
Which one?
No.
Great question. Second,
One of many, certainly.
second question, did we save someone from certain death or worse?
Not really.
Yep, I would agree.
No.
Active death, actually.
I mean-
Not death. Brutalization.
Yeah, each of us were like at least two of us were saved from certain. Three of us were saved from certain death or worse that we got ourselves into.
I was all good.
So the sheriff gets an experience point for that.
Correct.
Yeah, shout out to sheriff.
Did we learn something new and important about the world?
I mean, we as general now. I mean, each of us are kind of on our own individual
Correct.
destiny quests that are learning our
we
own
can count it
things.
as like an out of character kind of thing.
We learned that Miss Merrill's a huge stoner. That's new.
Sure, she dabbles.
Yeah, we learned a lot of the afterlife shenanigans.
She dabbled
Yeah.
and she dabbed, everybody. All right.
Did we learn something new and important about one of the hunters?
I think we can like go in any direction at this point with a yes, because I think each of us learned a little bit something about a little bit about each of our characters almost.
Mm.
I mean, our characters didn't learn the things about the other characters, so I guess it's up to you on how you want to rule that. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I'll go ahead. I mean, either way, I feel like this boils down to one or two yeses. So go ahead and mark
Yes.
one experience.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So one point of experience.
We did it.
You did
We
it.
did it.
Right on. Okay. Well, again, for all of you who are still watching, we appreciate you so much. Thank you for sticking with it. We hope that you enjoyed it. We hope to see you next week, 7:30 p.m. Central, as we return for the last session of this mystery. We're there.
How are we gonna wrap this one up?
Listen, dog, we're gonna
Figure it out.
We're gonna have a fun time.
Feels like we have a few steps.
We're all gonna
Feels
die, obviously.
Yeah.
It's
and-
kind of looking that way, y'all. I don't know.
So far, yeah. So, we appreciate
So far,
you.
yeah, we're gonna die.
we appreciate y'all a lot. Thank you again for watching. Please take care of yourselves. Please be kind to yourselves. We'll see you next week, and we love you. Appreciate you. Good night, y'all.
Hold on.
Sorry, I forgot to do the finger wagglies because I